We're online. ESPNTallahassee.com is where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything, but hey, if you do, we've got you covered. We'll post all 3 hours, both to iTunes and in our own audio vault upon the conclusion of the show. If you want to email, fire away. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameron WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. A lot of times on Tuesdays, this is the spot where you begin to hear Seminole headlines. That'll be on its way tomorrow. Looking forward to that. But in the interim, I'm looking forward to getting into this here on your usual JCS, which is Florida State Duke. A little recap, a little conversation about what took place last night at Cameron. I'll get to it momentarily. Hello, YouTubers. Good to have you along as well. Don't forget about that WTSM app for mobile devices. And like I said, we'll post all 3 hours of the program after it's all said and done. Boy, it's a wasted opportunity last night for Florida State is the way I look at the game. I'm not coming in here fire and brimstone today because I actually feel, and I'll reiterate this some throughout the day, I feel good after last night's game. I do. I don't like to lose. Nobody does. Nobody who's competitive does. And of course, that it's not fun. It's not fun to lose a game, especially when you don't play real well, when you know that you can play at a higher level. And it's an opportunity to beat a Duke team that's ranked in the top 10, to do it at their place. As brought up several times on the broadcast last night, Florida State doesn't go on the road to Cameron Indoor and win all that often. On the show yesterday, we documented the times that we have, and it's a short list. So when you've got a chance to get one of these and you think you're positioned to do so and you let it slip through your hands, that stings. I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't. And this isn't going to be about excuse-making either. But I come on this show every day and I try to tell you where my head's at. You might agree with it. You might not. You may agree with some of the things and not all of the things. Sometimes you might think, I'm right on board with you. Sometimes, Cameron, you're way off base. That's fine. But I'm always going to tell you where I'm at and what I'm thinking. And it's going to be from the heart. It's going to be genuine. Man, I feel better after last night. I do. I feel better about where this team is going to be by season's end. I feel better about what they're capable of and what their potential is after last night's loss than I did before it. And I liked them quite a bit before it. But, man, there are so many things that have to go right for Duke to win that game. Yeah, see, I'm looking at it the other way. The things we didn't do well turned out to be real outliers, at least if you look at the previous data points for Florida State basketball this year, of which you have plenty. We've played more than 20 games prior to last night. And we just simply don't shoot that poorly. We don't. But we did last night. If you're gonna miss that many shots against a good team, you're gonna take away your opportunity to win a basketball game. You really are gonna give yourself almost no chance, and you're gonna squander and waste a superhuman effort from Trent Forrest. You're gonna squander and waste a defensive effort from this team, which, by the way, I thought the scout defensively was spectacular. They did a very, very good job of taking away Vernon Carey and really taking away a lot of what Duke wanted to do. Duke had very little in the way of answers when they got into the lane. Florida State harassed, harangued, blocked shots, altered a ton more. Really did a very good job of contesting. But Duke hit some threes, and Florida State missed most all of theirs. You mix in the fact that you have your worst free throw shooting night of the season, and you leave 8 more points on the board or off the board there at the free throw line, and it's really easy to add up to a 5-point loss. I just feel like when you look at Florida State's missed layups, missed open looks, missed threes, long stretches where they just in and out, couldn't find a basket, to only lose by 5 at Cameron Indoor. That's good stuff, man. You put Florida State on a neutral site or in a neutral site situation with full rest. I like us. I'd bet on us against Duke.
I think, honestly, there's an awful lot to like about where this group is going because you've seen them now perform twice in prime time. I know that the Louisville game was actually a matinee game, but in the ACC on the road, difficult environments, and it's no fluke. You know, they take it to Louisville. They own that game. They own the moment. They get to their spots, they hit their shots, and they walk out of that place having Chris Mack lamenting the fact that his team, it just got bullied, just got abused. They go to Cameron Indoor last night, play what? A C- game by our standards?
Well, you shoot it under 38%, Tom, and you shoot it less than 20% from three. This is an objective conversation that we can have. This is us talking about the things that we have proven time and again that we can do better than what we did last night. Some of that is Duke. I don't want to take credit away from Duke, who really defends and really makes you work. But when you miss wide open looks and you begin the game 0 for 9 from the field, and you miss free throws at a rate much higher than you have at any point all season long, that's not the opponent. That's just you missing shots. That's not sour grapes either. Sometimes it works that way. We've seen teams that have had opportunities on nights where we didn't play well. Teams that have played their best game perhaps against us and probably felt like when they walked away with a loss that they should have won that game, that they had done enough defensively to give themselves a chance. It works that way sometimes. It's a long season, and you're going to have nights like that. But if you're just looking player for player, if you're looking athlete for athlete, if you're looking at size and athleticism and depth, and then you see what Florida State's been for most of the year and what Duke's been for most of the year, I'll grant you this. Both teams probably played nowhere close to as well as they are capable of, and that's because of the ridiculous turnaround that they forced these teams for TV purposes to go through. I thought both teams looked pretty tired, pretty beat up, pretty weary, if you will, at varying stretches of the game. When you play on a Saturday and you turn around and play on a Monday, that'll happen. We've seen a lot of that, by the way. If you go back and look at Florida State's performances in games in which they play on a Saturday and then play again on a Monday, invariably they start slow every time. They don't have the legs underneath them. It's not like Duke came out catching fire. They just got a lot of opportunities because Florida State kept coming up empty on the other end of the floor. They built that early 11-point lead, but that wasn't because they came out shooting the lights out. They had a couple threes.
The thing about us that I love so much is we're down by that much. Cameron Indoor, right? Place House of Horrors. We won twice in 23 games prior to last night. I'm not worried. I'm not worried one bit. We're going to erase that deficit. That's who we are. We don't go away. And if you're looking at it from a Duke fan's perspective, walking to the concession stands at halftime or leaving the arena after the game is over and they've won, good God, Florida State does not go away. And honestly, they could have done a lot more on the offensive side. And it felt like for stretches, Duke was owning the game in such a way they should be up by 15, 20 points. And yet there we were, within 6. Then we get it back within 3. Next thing you know, we take the lead to start the half in the second half. I mean, we were just relentless. And that is a hallmark of any team that can go the distance in the big dance. And that's something we've had since game 1 this year. The free throw fest against Pitt. That was a ridiculous result because of all the free throws and the amount of whistles in that game. But you look at the way we tried on defense right away. We didn't know what we were going to be offensively as a team this year. We didn't know how we were going to replace all those scores that we lost. But through one game against Pitt, you thought, oh, man, there are no easy baskets coming against us this year. And we've been that group, and we've only improved since then. In different places, different position groups, we've only improved since then, and we're only going to improve between now and when we get into the tournament. There's more growth to be had. That's what has me excited personally about this group.
I'm really buoyed by the group. I think by season's end, they'll realize their potential. Remember, this is only really the second full game in a row where they've had the full complement of players in the rotation. Now, they have an absurd abundance of riches when it comes to the amount of players that they can insert in a lineup in a rotation. 16, it's crazy to think about, but really, let's just say 12 to 14 that can really give you quality minutes right now. At various points, these guys were all dealing with ailments. And so, whether it was Balsa's back and he misses time and he can't get back to full strength, you had the situations with Evans and Osborne even, and we've had a lot of dings and bruises and nicks, in some cases severe injuries that guys had to rally back from that have not allowed us to have the full complement. And now you're starting to see really what that can look like. And some of those guys got to play a little bit more basketball and be in the crucible a little bit more to kind of deal with their emotions and the adrenaline that comes with it. I think Patrick Williams last night had a mismatch all night long. Patrick Williams was a guy last night that could have taken over the game. But he's so young, And he's so green. He's physically gifted. He dominates on the defensive end. He's a guy that can get to the spot anywhere on the floor that he wants. But when you haven't been relied upon and you're now in a position in a game of this magnitude, I mean, everybody knows the magnitude of going into Cameron Indoor to face Duke. It's a storied program, legendary program, all that stuff. Man, adrenaline, that could be tough to offset. To calm yourself down. I thought he recognized at a couple of different points in the game that he could take it over. It's just that he got so jacked up that he would bull his way to the basket. Again, physically, they had nobody that could stop him. But when he got there, he was a little out of control, and he couldn't finish around the rim in a way that consistent scorers, guys who've been there, done that, guys who've been around the block a little bit, learn how to calm themselves down, lower the heart rate a little bit, let's breathe, let's gather ourselves here and go about the business of dominating. I think he was a little out of control. I thought Devin Vassell was a guy who was not assertive enough last night. I mean, if I go through the lineup, obviously the stellar performances from Trent Forrest. He deserves a ton of recognition for what he did. I thought the guy was going to have a quadruple-double. He was unreal, right? And it's a shame that performance is wasted, but it's in him. It's in him. And it's like he's been waiting to pick his spots. And he really, they set a record. He set a record last night for the most steals ever on the road at Cameron Indoor. So, I like that he's going to get spelled a little bit more in some of these matchups, and he'll be able to reach back in the reserves. Florida State comes out of this game 5-point losers. And I don't feel the least bit bad about it because I feel like they didn't come close to reaching their potential and playing their best basketball.
To me, in the last week to 10 days, the number one positive development is that you do have a backup point guard who can play 20 minutes if he needs to, if Trent gets in foul trouble or Trent is a little bit dinged, and you don't lose a whole lot. Now, of course, you don't get the defensive tenacity that Trent Forrest brings and the leadership and experience that he has at the level, but Raekwon Evans can score the basketball. He can move the basketball around the horn a little bit. It's not the drop-off it would have been a month ago. The explosiveness is there. You could see the guys are starting to trust him a little bit in the half court as well. Mm-hmm. He's also trusting his own athletic abilities and his own health. Outside of Dalvin Cook, people are usually pretty leery when they have a bad hammy and they're coming back from it. Only Dalvin can operate at peak efficiency with that malady. But he's come back, and what that's going to do for us with all these games that we have to play, the fact that the bye week is done, long since passed, the bye weekend, long since passed, you're going to have to lean on Evans to ensure that Trent is right when he needs to be. That, to me, is the number one positive thing that's happened in the last week for this program.
So I'll address a couple of things here as I talk about the positive feelings I get after a tough loss. Now, one thing it does do is it likely, it's not mathematically this way, of course, but it likely really, really dampens any chance you have of winning the regular season ACC title. I wanted to win the regular season title. It's still a possibility, but I think you're really behind the eight ball now with last night's loss. But a couple things here when I make the point that sometimes it's just about whether or not you make shots. Sometimes basketball is very, very simple that way. In the NBA, players say it a lot. All the players that become later on, analysts and color announcers, they'll come in and they'll say, it's a make or miss league. You hear them say it a lot. Well, they're saying that because obviously anybody that arrives in the NBA can really play. So ultimately, you hit the shots or you don't hit the shots. Last night felt that way. Last night felt an awful lot like, you're missing a lot of shots here. At some point, when you generate a good look, you got to hit the shot. Well, if you want evidence of that, look at this statistic. You're doing whatever you want to do defensively. You are forcing Duke into horrific situations. Duke probably, you want to talk about looking at film and having things to work on. Florida State forced 21 Duke turnovers. 16 steals in a basketball game is absurd. 8 from Trent Forrest alone. 16 steals, 21 forced turnovers. This is a team that leads the country in doing it. You know what their advantage was in points off turnovers? 15-7. Jesus, make a shot. You got layups you're missing off of those steals. You got point-blank looks that you're missing off of those steals.
We pulled up a few times when we had a path to it as well.
You got Raekwon Gray deciding to just elbow a guy because he's too heavy set to get to the basket in time, so he's got to just try to bulldoze somebody and wait on him. Just dumb stuff. Just dumb stuff. And you got to cash that in. And I think, on the whole, they've shown that they will. Last night, again, seems to me to be the outlier. That's why I come away from this much more, I guess, bullish on Florida State's potential. I'm not that upset. I would have liked the end of the game to have looked a little bit different. The cylinder foul seemed a little shaky to me. I thought Matthew Hurt grabbed and pulled on Patrick Williams' arm in his effort to get the loose ball. But I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm one of these guys that in the last 20 seconds of games, I've argued with Tom about this on the show before. We've taken our different sides. I like when officials let them play on loose ball situations because I want the guys on the court to decide it, not the officials. And it's sort of like, I mean, if you got kids in the car, turn it down. It's a man's game, bitch. At that point, we're playing ball. There's 25 seconds to play. Here we go. It's one of those situations, right? So I kind of can deal with the no call there, that first part of the play. If you're going to let the guys go after it, let them go after it. What I don't like is then, my man turns and basically elbows Trent Forrest in the face. Or even if he misses him, which he might have missed him, it's awfully close.
Yeah, Patrick Williams might have caught him in the eye.
I think Patrick does catch him in the eye. But what I didn't like is they don't review it. You're going to bail out with a cylinder call, but you can go review that, and they didn't. And it's my understanding Ham asked them to, and they didn't. Well, I got a problem with that because I damn sure know that if Coach K had asked them to, they would have. But really, that's offset a little bit by the fact that Polite was standing with both feet out of bounds, and they somehow gave us the ball.
Down 3. We needed that possession, too.
Yeah, so what happens? You went down there and you missed the shot. I mean,
story of the night. Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. You start 0 for 8 from the field, and you go through these prolonged droughts, and you're not able to hit a lot of open looks that you generate and you work so hard for, and yet you're right there at all times in the game. It's not like Duke pulled away by 20 and we magically came back and we got to 3.
No, it's there the whole game. You're right there. I mean, you're right there. You shut down Vernon Carey.
Yep.
You do a lot of things that typically lead to victory. You do a lot of things that would have given yourself a chance to win the game. And you did give yourself a chance to win the game with all those steals. But at some point, you got to make baskets. And so, MJ Walker was MIA last night. Terrible game from him. And when I think about this team and their ability to win the biggest games against the best competition and moving forward, when I think about the NCAA tournament or the ACC tournament, listen, at the end of the day, whatever you get from some of these role players or guys that come off the bench that usually give us a decided advantage, that's all nice. That's all well and good. But I don't go into games expecting that Evans or Osborne or guys like that are going to carry the day. I don't go into games expecting Wyatt Wilkes to score 19 or 15 or anything like that. You know what I go into games expecting? I go into games expecting that Trent Forrest is going to be the unquestioned leader on the floor, that he's going to give us the best chance to win. I go into games expecting that Devin Vassell, silky smooth as he is, NBA player as he will be, is going to go assert himself and drop 15 to 20 in a big game when I need him to, that he's going to dominate stretches of the basketball game. I go into games expecting that my most experienced backcourt players are going to dominate the day. MJ Walker's going to defend, and he's going to get streaky, and he's going to make a few threes when we need it, or he's going to get to the basket and get to the free throw line. And so when 2 of those 3 guys don't play real well, and your bench gets outscored, I expect that you're going to get blown out in those situations.
Especially against a team with 6 or 7 top 40 recruits.
That's what I mean. Like, if you tell me before that game starts that you're going to go to Cameron and that of your 3 most dependable players, only one's going to play well, and that you're going to have your bench outscored, and that you're going to, all these, that you're going to go 0 for 8 to start the game, and that you're going to have your worst night from the free throw line that you've had all season in ACC play, well, I'm going to tell you, okay, well, it's not very competitive. We're going to lose the game. And yet, there it was. It's a one-possession game with, less than 30 seconds to play. That's the reason for my optimism. That's the reason that the more I thought about it, the more I got away from the game and the frustrations that come with losing, the better I felt about it. Sometimes that can be the catalyst for, we'll learn from this. And, you grow up a little bit. Some other guys, now they've experienced what it's like to play in that environment. Patrick Williams, I think, can really grow from a game like this. From there, you say, well, there's a lot of basketball to be played. Let's take something from it and hope like hell that by season's end, we're in a position to certainly garner that top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. And the next time you're playing a good team like this, you recognize the urgency. I mean, listen, it's not like they wanted to miss those shots. They just did. They had an off night. Let's hope that doesn't happen again when the moment's that big. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Are ready for immediate delivery. You can lease it for just $249 a month with just $19.99 down. The all-new 2020 Jeep Gladiator is the hottest Jeep in the market right now, and you can lease it for just $289 a month with just $19.99 down. And all of our Jeeps come with a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. See dealer for details on powertrain warranty. Dealer retains all rebates and incentives. Sport package leases are 36 months with $19.88 down and 10,000 miles with approved credit.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Yes, yes, yes. That is right, good sir. Baseball is upon us.
Hey, man, what are you having?
An El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Going all in on the Gordos in honor of baseball, my good friend.
Get me an El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Those are the reasons you always come back.
You were all in on that singing.
And I dance, too.
No, not necessary.
Watch. All right.
Off the bar, Eddie.
No, watch.
And the tapping?
Oh, up.
Sweet Jesus, Eddie, are you all right?
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Gordos, where Eddie will dance on the bar. In baseball. Yay, baseball. In Gordos.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature Which, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The perfect lunch spot. A nearly impossible find. Thankfully for Tallahassee, we have Metro Deli. A downtown gem for over 15 years, Metro Deli is locally owned and features the best deli meats, cheeses, breads, and ingredients in the city. Enjoy daily specials and soups, salads and wraps. There's something for everyone. Metro Deli offers online ordering for pickup or delivery and will cater your office breakfast or lunch too. Tallahassee's perfect lunch spot is Metro Deli. MetroDeliTally.com. That's MetroDeliTally.com.
This hour of the Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Jerry's Cigar Shop, 2810 Shara Road and 2910 Cary Forest Parkway. Online at jerrycigarshop.com.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by
Driving behaviors, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You're locked in with it.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
Joe continues to feed Raekwon Gray, fills my soul, quote unquote. Just decides to elbow a guy because he's too heavy set to get to the basket. You picked up on that. Thank you. Hashtag. In that case, it's true.
Hashtag a-hole.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pretty straightforward there, right? I mean, he couldn't get there because he is not in shape.
So the ball is loose, and then it's picked up by a Knoll, and here we're going down the court, and the first thing I assess is immediately, whose silhouette is that?
Oh, well, it didn't take long. It didn't take long, no.
And then my thought was, 20% chance this finishes with an easy basket. Come on. 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5. Let's do this thing.
I thought he'd either get blocked, or I thought... Or I thought he would. I actually was worried he's going to get called for an offensive foul because it looked like he was waiting on the defender to use his body to push off. I mean, it felt like he was going to do exactly what he did.
I remember the first time that happened to me as a kid. You get the breakaway,
yeah.
And you don't know what to do. Like I moved forward, but the first dribble went over my head. I was so excited. I pounded it into the court.
It's hard to calm yourself down. It really is, and. You know, this is what we talk about. Like, that's a funny example and a childlike example, and it's a shame we would find it applicable here. But I will say that that's the experience, right? The times where you do slow things down and recognize that you have time. You know, that's what Patrick Williams, who was not the culprit in this situation, will grow to understand. When you're able to get that inside hip and you're able to seal and you're able to create that space, his body type is such that guys cannot hang with him. I mean, you saw a couple of Duke players that were like getting throttled just because he leaned with the basketball. You know, the density, the weight was too much for them, and they went kind of bouncing off. It made me laugh. And, you know, we say these things all the time about college football players or professional football players. We'll say, whew, it's a grown-ass man right there. That's what we mean. Like, that's just naturally who he is, and he's a freshman. That's going to be a whole lot to deal with when he gets his man weight.
Oh, there's a lot to work on in between now and, you know.
Yeah.
He's not a fully finished product, and I think he needs to work on stuff here.
Maybe for 2 more years, Tom. He might need to be here for 2 more seasons.
He looks like he's interested in the full academic experience as well.
In that case, all 4 years, I'm with you. Absolutely. The rigors of an improved Florida State University academically could take 4 to 5 years. So please, by all means.
It forges you. It forges you and makes you tougher for your future.
There's football news out there as we segue from Florida State's loss at Duke to, a team that loses a lot. We hope it changes by the time this game gets around to being played. A lot of things are going to have to change if this game is going to be even remotely competitive. Let's look at it. Florida State is now finally confirming the scheduled games, plural, against LSU. Unfortunately, those are neutral site contests. This is a neutral site series to be played by Florida State and LSU. Never a bad thing in terms of being a college football fan and loving the pageantry that comes with college football and all of that. It's never a bad thing to see these kinds of matchups. We do it across the board. We get excited anytime we go, oh, look at that, Ohio State's playing Oklahoma. Look at that, Oregon's playing whatever. You know, we all like that, and when we're part of it, when we play Alabama, the results don't always go the way you want them to, but whenever you get matchups like this, it's kind of fun. You get excited about it. And so on the surface, you see Florida State and LSU, and you go, all right, man, Titans clash. I mean, we've got a ways to go till we're a Titan again, but we were. So let's hope to get something that's akin to that by the time 2022 rolls around. But you see the matchups, you see the two logos, and you say, all right, I like it. And it's a money play. You get the money that comes from this. I get all of that. But, boy, I have expressed it time and again, and I'll express it again here. I hate this. I hate this. It's so far removed from what made college football special, and the fact that we don't get to go to Baton Rouge and experience that and go into that stadium with those fans and that atmosphere for a football game just simply pisses me off. And they don't get to come here, and we don't get to return the favor. And that's what the college football experience is all about, seeing other campuses, tailgating, having fun with other fan bases, learning about their traditions, their histories. Nope, don't get to do that. Instead, you go to these neutral site money grab folks. I got it. I understand it. The money's necessary, especially for a place like Florida State these days. But, Orlando, whatever the hell. I will say this. New Orleans, okay. I'll be excited in New Orleans. It's one of my very favorite cities. I love the culture. I love the people. I love the food. I love the music. I love how eclectic and different it is from any other city in America. And it warms my heart to be able to spend my hard-earned money there. But I would rather do it on my own on a random weekend in which I say, hey, Tom, you've never been to New Orleans. Hop in, baby. We're going. We're going to gamble. We're going to drink. We're going to have some fun. Instead of a football game where we would have had the opportunity to be on the campus there at LSU and see that stadium and party with those people. But, hey, it is what it is. 2022, 2023, I know it's a lazy phrase on my part, but it's true in this case. They're going to do it. Labor Day, not a home-and-home, neutral site, Labor Day series against LSU 2022, 2023.
I was hoping the delay in the negotiations was because they were moving them to campus.
Oh, me too.
And after seeing what the LSU experience is for baseball, I can only imagine what it is for football. And it was hospitable and wonderful for baseball. There was an energy in the air when you walk into that stadium that seats between 10 and 11,000 at Alex Box. It's amazing.
Great place.
In the shadows of their football stadium. It's still going to be on my list for a bye week that matches up nicely or an away game that's, not compelling. Although they all are these days because we can't be assured of any
can't
kind of
chalk up victory in any of these matchups.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So maybe someday soon, someday in the next 3 or 4 years, we'll be able to make it out to Death Valley, the SEC's version of it. But it won't be for some time with the Garnet and Gold because we're playing in New Orleans. Okay.
That said, better tidy up the act. Better get it together. Better clean it up. Better get right. Tighten up.
There's a lot of crap that needs to be done between now and then.
A lot of stuff that has to get cleaned up. A lot of stuff that has to get remedied before taking on an outfit the strength of LSU. Now, I'll grant you, that magical season just occurred, and luckily this will be a couple seasons removed from that, and Joe Burrow will not be starting at quarterback for LSU, and no matter what they've been able to do since, I have a feeling they will have taken a step back from the team we just witnessed run roughshod over college football.
Even still, the house hasn't been sold. Finally took after about 2 months. And here's Norvell. He buys his house, got a beautiful lawn, but everybody in the neighborhood, while this thing was in transit, decided to let their dogs run all over it. And they didn't bring any plastic bags with them. And so what does Norvell have to do upon arrival to this new home?
Clean up.
He's got to get a giant trash can and a giant plastic bag and a scooper.
And get to work.
That's what he needs to do.
Well, in addition to that, you could another analogy might be that you've moved into this neighborhood, and it seems to fit what you are financially at this stage of your life. When all of a sudden, the time between you sell that house and move into your new one, everybody decided to upgrade. Now all of a sudden, you got the sorriest house on the block. We got to catch up, man. Home improvements. We got to get with it. Look at these guys. They added a pool. This guy just added a deck. They added another room. I'm in sad shape around these parts.
At what point that solar panel was cool. Now it proves to the neighbors I've got the worst house on the lot.
Man, I got some things to do because if I'm going to keep up with the Joneses, well, then that's what's necessary. I have to invest, and invest is right because Mike Norvell now has his work cut out for him. If you look at the out-of-conference schedules, in his first few years here, we're assuming that he'll be here for at least 3. I don't think we can afford to do the same sort of thing we just got done doing, so safe to say he will be here for the next 3 years, minimum. If you do go ahead and check it out, you've got already right off the bat West Virginia. All right, not the end of the world, but when you're rebuilding, that's still a formidable outfit to face. You got to face Boise State on the road. You got Notre Dame coming to Tallahassee in 2021. By 2022, you're taking on LSU. So, all right, let's get it together.
And not
you
too
always
far.
got Florida every year.
There's an Alabama date and a couple of Georgias
There's
as
a
well
Georgias
this
in there,
decade.
too. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
man.
Good decade for us as fans to see exactly where we are in the process.
There are times in everybody's life where a mirror is the last thing they need to see.
You know, perhaps this just puts the onus on expediting the process, Tom. When you're out there forging relationships in the recruiting world, this puts a little extra pressure to get it done, to make it happen, to invest in your future. One that you can be proud of when you put it to the test against the likes of LSU and Georgia and Notre Dame and Clemson. And
is that a wad of Benjis in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?
It's the Jeff Cameron Show.
We were sick as vibes. Sicky really sang. Screwed up.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
There, check out the new lower prices on bit tips and hole saws. Big store pricing with local service. 2 locations to choose from: 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
One of my favorite things about being a member at Orange Theory Fitness is the sense of community. Initially, after taking the tour and seeing the state-of-the-art equipment, I was intrigued. I became convinced even once I researched the science-backed, technology-tracked, coach-inspired workouts, all of that. But what I didn't count on was the support, the sense of camaraderie shown by the members and the coaches. You realize pretty quickly you're not alone. And when you're pushing yourself through barriers and attempting to be your personal best, you can use all the help you can get. And it's there. It's amongst the members and coaches at Orange Theory Fitness. To learn more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by state and driving behaviors. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Jeff Cameron here, and mark it down. Wednesdays on my show, we're giving away Which Wicked sandwiches. That's right. Tune in to the Jeff Cameron Show every Wednesday for your chance at a free Wicked 5 meats and 3 cheeses of deliciousness. Which is Wicked Wednesdays every week on the JCS.
Need help moving? 2 Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit 2men.com or call them at 850-224-2232. 2 Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
This hour of the Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Jerry's Cigar Shop, 2810 Shera Road and 2910 Cary Forest Parkway. Online at jerrycigarshop.com.
Hi, this is Peter Bond, owner of Jerry's Cigar Shop. Jerry's has been a local favorite for cigar enthusiasts for the last 25 years. We have the largest walk-in humidors in town, filled to the brim with an amazing cigar selection. Relax in one of our leather chairs and enjoy an ice-cold beer or a glass of wine with your cigar. Jerry's is a great place to watch sports on our big flat-screen TVs and offers a comfortable setting for lively conversation. Visit our original store on Shera Road or our new second location on Cary Forest Parkway. We hope to see you soon.
This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
So we're going to approach everything with a championship mindset, a championship approach.
See Mike Norvell lead the new Seminoles for the first time at the FSU Spring Game. Touchdown FSU! Then Doak After Dark returns. Multi-platinum artist John Party will rock the stage with his country hits. Also featuring Runaway June. Saturday, April 18th. Tickets starting at $10 for the game and concert. Visit Seminoles.com to get your tickets today.
It's time to head to Cabo's. Cabo's lunch deal menu features a quarter-pound cheeseburger, black bean burger, fried flounder po' boy, or grilled chicken and veggie wrap, plus many more. All include tea or coffee and are just $8.79. Cabo's Island Grill and Bar, located in the Appalachie Parkway Shopping Center.
This is Golic and Wingo.
If you only have 2 choices, do I think it's more of a one and done or to a dynasty, whatever that is, 3-4 Super Bowls? Because the quarterback position is the most important position and they have the best one in the league right now, and they have guys locked up, I would probably lean more towards it being a dynasty than a one and done.
He went there, dynasty.
I did, and I feel a little dirty doing that, by the way. I'm going to have to shower in this break.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee.
You to our friends at Hangar 38 for doing it up. Got after the wings last night.
That was a platter.
Filling. I was starving. I made the mistake of going all day without eating. And you would think at this point in my life I'd be able to better adult.
I have not seen you bring a brown bag here. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I usually eat before I leave the house, and I don't. I try not to. I don't know, I'm eating better these days. I by and large, I eat pretty well. I don't eat a lot of fast food or anything like that. And if I do eat, it's usually like grilled wings or something like that. But, yeah, I just forget, man. I don't know what it is. I do a big like egg breakfast usually to kind of start the day. It fills me up. I'm good till I get home. Even on days where, most days I'll go work out or whatever, and then I'm good to go until I get home. But sometimes if I forget when I walk out the door, next thing you know, I look up, damn, 7 o'clock at night, I haven't eaten any food. Just silliness. So hence the large platter you saw last night at Hangar 38. Yeah.
Put that thing on a tray. It's like a baking tray.
It was a beautiful thing. I was surprised I couldn't finish it. I had to give some to Alex, the intern. He does such a good job. But I was sitting there thinking, I'll eat all of these. But alas, I failed. They were filling, and they were delicious. And moreover, they were gracious hosts there, and we had a good time. And thanks to everybody who came out. And, maybe next time we can promise a win. I don't know. When is the next?
The next one is the 22nd, Saturday the 22nd for NC State. We should win that one.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I don't assume much anymore about the I should, shouldn't I? I think our team has proven that I should trust them more. I trust them an awful lot. I actually felt pretty good about going into the game last night. I did. I was like, okay, kind of match it up pretty well. Could just wanted us to make a few more shots, but alas, we did not make said shots. I felt like we would, it's weird because one thing that is true, and we continue to talk about this team for good reason, they give us all the reason to be excited each time out because they've proven themselves on the road so many times. But one thing that I've learned that I do like about them is that they can start slow, and that's not an indication that they're they're going to pack it in any way. You know that they'll be the run. They'll get back in the game. They're just too good not to get back in the game. They're too good defensively not to get back into games. And that's happened every time this year that they've started slowly. They've gotten back into every one of those games.
Well, and given, all that we lost, that it was hard to assume that was going to be this team this year.
Right.
And for me personally, it took until about, I think, New Year's. What is that? 12 games or so, maybe a little bit more, before I really trusted in what you're talking about. That, they could be down a certain amount. It's
that
not
11 on the road against a top 10 team, and you're not sitting there saying in your mind, even if you're not saying it out loud, but even in your mind, you're not saying, well, this is over. No, you're kind of like, they'll come back. This will be a one-possession game.
So, I'm on vacation a few weeks ago. I'm in Mexico. I could go out and see the beautiful water and take in the breeze, but I'm listening because I want to. Florida State on the road at Miami. They're down 9 late. And I didn't feel compelled in the least to turn it off at that point because I know who we are. And I'm listening to Deckerhoff make the call. And I'm thinking, well, 9 points? We've done more with less time. We could easily come back in this situation. That's who we are. I'm never going to count us out. We could be down, 10 with 4 minutes to go in the tournament. I don't want to be in that position, but game's not over. We'll get a couple of stops, hit a couple of threes. Next thing you know, game pressure right back on you.
You know what I'm doing right now? What I've done each of the last several days when I'm not compulsively looking or obsessively looking, I should say, at Florida State basketball, the future of the schedule, what possible seeding we could have, who we have to get more out of on the roster, all that. Beginning to do the position by position. Let's start stockpiling a good memory as to who's on the team, who's returning, and who we expect to take a big leap forward, and who are some of the mystery candidates to take the place of some others who have left us. That's right, Florida State baseball and Mike Martin Jr.'s interview that we do every year, but this time around as now the head coach of Florida State baseball, happens at the end of this week. That's right, this is the week. Florida State baseball begins in earnest, and so it is. Yes, I'm pumped.
Word on the street has been we can pitch. That's been the whole offseason. This group can pitch.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to see.
One thing I'm excited to talk to him about, and we will for all of you listening, who expect our annual interview. It's going to happen this Friday, and you'll get to hear it. Full, long-form discussion of Florida State baseball. I'm interested in the ways that he thinks they'll be different. He's hinted at some things that he wants to do, and now that he's had a real good chance to assess his team and assess what he's got and what's coming in and what they lost, and also the strengths, counterbalancing the weaknesses, knowing what you can play to, that kind of stuff. Does he still feel that way? Does he still feel like some of the changes that he wanted to implement immediately he can accomplish this year, or will that just start slowly, kind of gauge? But also, I want his thoughts on a guy, because to me, a player that has all kinds of potential, but I just hadn't really thought about since the season ended last year, and who had a disastrous start to his career, but I think certainly has a chance to be a very good player, Elijah Cabell. I mean, because remember last year at this time, we were so excited to see that kid because we had heard about bat speed, quick wrists, prodigious shots in practice, home runs that he could hit. Remember that first week of the season, he hit one over the scoreboard and all that. You got a glimpse of that power, and you thought, oh, man, okay, so that's in there. And then he began to slump, and once that happened, it domes you up, and he really didn't do anything.
Freshman wall plus confidence equals what we saw towards the end of the year, which were at bats where you felt hopeless when he stepped into the box. Yeah.
Mostly hopeless at all times is what you felt, because he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. And you thought to yourself, well, he's done. And they basically had to shut him down some. I mean, he had gotten to that point. It is interesting to hear how you wrestle with that as a coach, where you can lose a guy. And coaches warn that, this is in every sport, that if you throw a guy into the mix too soon with high expectations and then they fall on their face, you're going to lose him for good. Pros are always worried about this when they call up kids from AA. If he's not ready and he gets tattooed a little bit here, do we lose him? So I want to hear his philosophy on getting guys out of those kinds of slumps. It's not just Cabell. There are other guys that we expect more out of. I'm interested in tapping into that conversation.
Well, that could go from zero to hero with his ability. Just in terms of raw power and the tools that so many kids have to work so hard to get, 75% of what he has naturally. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Well, and I want to marry that with how aggressive Mike Martin Jr. says he wants us to be as an offensive unit, like how he's talked about that to anybody who will listen, right? And he mentioned it to me right off the bat when we started talking about some of the changes. He talked about being more aggressive offensively. So how does that work for a kid that had such a slump last year, who played so poorly, or any of the guys who really kind of struggled to adapt and adjust? So these are all just the things now as we start to kind of, get in our head the fact that Florida State baseball is starting.
Well, the fun part about this year is the discussion has to be fundamentally different. For 11, it was always, are you going to win the ultimate prize? And what a disappointment he is versus what a great consistent ambassador for the game and also the winningest coach in college baseball history was. I mean, the two factions would always go to war over those things.
Yeah,
and it was the same old damn argument from opening day all the way to the end of the season.
It was the worst. Just roll your eyes.
And now you have relief. I know that people they're gonna attach the last name and they're gonna use a lot of the same old complaints, but it's different. This guy is different. Just as we're in a different dugout, the old one we used to be in, the third base side. Things are changing, and you're going to hear a much different approach to describing this ball club, media availability, all that
I think
stuff.
you're right about that in describing this ball club. He's candid, and so there's just no – I don't know to what degree he'll soften that as he learns or ratchet up. I mean, I'm not sure, but, you can't be somebody you're not, so you got to be careful about changing too much, and I think that they'll have to be thick-skinned.
Either that or he's going to give like 2-word answers. Your thoughts on this pitching performance? Didn't like it. And then just leave it.
What we've always known, and then I guess if you're going to talk about the narrative changing, and I'll move on and we'll get into hour number 2, but if the narrative is going to change, it works both ways. The same people that were highly critical of Coach Martin for never having cashed it in and win the national championship, the elusive national championship, also knew they could trust that no matter what kind of season Florida State was having, and in some cases I had to learn and others had to learn the hard way, that even when it looked like you were up against it and this was going to be the year where it ended, the streak ended and all that, you could always guarantee that they would find a way. They would find a way to get it turned around just in the nick of time, and oftentimes not just turn it around, but go on a run for the ages. See last year's trip to the College World Series through Baton Rouge. I mean, nobody saw that coming during the middle portion of the season, right?
But it was fun to see happen.
But now can you count on that? Because it works both ways. If you're going to assume as much under the old regime, you can't necessarily assume that gets righted in the same way that it always did if things go south. Then again, it may not have to. You may be better off right from the get-go. Who knows? Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by state and driving behaviors. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
As sports fans, we all know this is the best time of the year. And the best places to catch all the action are at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and 7th Hill Tap Room. If you're a fan of an action-packed environment, the Corner Pocket is the place to be. Happy hour specials every day, including all day on Sundays, with sports in HD everywhere you look. For location hours and menu, head to cptallybar.com. Whether you're feeling the upstairs at the Corner Pocket or lounging down at the 7th Hill Tap Room, your game day is always covered. 2475 Appalachia Parkway, right next to Earth Fair.
Come visit the new and exciting Hangar 38. This amazing place is for everyone listening right now. Practice your bowling skills, compete, and have fun. Whether you're a newbie, an all-star, or a beer frame champion, no matter how you roll, you'll find the best place to bowl is at Hangar 38. Hangar 38 is home to over 75 arcade games, so they're sure to have something for everyone. Zeppelin's at Hangar 38 is a premier full-service restaurant and sports bar, and it's also your place for birthday parties and company outings. Tallahassee, what are you waiting for? Come on out to Zeppelin's Hangar 38, 6668 Thomasville Road behind Walgreens.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Yes, yes, yes. That is right, good sir. Baseball is upon us.
Hey, man, what are you having?
An El Gordo and a Gordo Smash. Going all in on the Gordos in honor of baseball, my good friend.
Get me an El Gordo and a Gordo Smash. Those are the reasons you always come back.
You were all in on that singing.
And I dance, too.
No, not necessary.
Watch. All right.
Off the bar, Eddie!
No, watch.
And the tapping?
Oh, up.
Sweet Jesus, Eddie, are you all right?
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Gordos, where Eddie will dance on the bar. In baseball. Yay, baseball. And Gordos.
Take me out to the ball.
Tallahassee's unquestioned sports authority. 97.9 ESPN Radio. Tallahassee's sports monster.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
Deciding whether or not to fix something that has worked well for a long time can be a tough choice. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, we'll help you decide on whether to repair your existing system or consider new energy-efficient options. Book your repair or service appointment online in under a minute at baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Not all law firms are equal, so here's why Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey was recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm. First, we only take real cases. If your car was barely bumped and you think you're going to get rich, we're not the firm for you. We limit our practice to serious cases with legitimate claims. Second, we only take cases involving real injuries. If you know you aren't hurt but think you can fool your way into a quick settlement, we're not the firm for you. We encourage our clients to heal up and get better, not sit on the couch and expect a windfall. Third, we don't want clients who are just in it for the money. If the very first thing you think of after getting hurt is calling pound something or other on your cell phone instead of calling 911, we're not the firm for you. Your health should always come first. And finally, we won't blow smoke about a big money outcome just to get your case. Other firms overpromise and underdeliver. Our only promise is that we'll work harder than anyone to get you the best result. Remember, the law firm you have representing you makes all the difference, so don't settle for less. Call Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey and let us put our reputation to work for you.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. The Red Sox will name bench coach Ron Renicky as interim manager. Skipper Alex Cora and the team parted ways following baseball's investigation into sign stealing by the 2017 Astros. Renicky arrived with Cora in Boston before the 2018 season. Meantime, a decision by MLB into the probe of sign stealing allegations by the Red Sox not expected this week. Tiger Woods today met with the media as he gets ready to play this week at Riviera. Tiger looking for his first W at the event in his hometown. And there are two keys for that victory, which would be his record-setting 83rd on the PGA Tour, explains ESPN's Michael Collins.
He has got to find the fairway with his driver. And if he can find the fairway and stay out of those trees, his greens in regulation are going to go up. So if he finds fairways, and I'm going to say if he's in the top 4 in greens in regulation, then Tiger's definitely going to be in contention and have a chance to win come Sunday.
NBA Nets guard Kyrie Irving sprained knee out again tomorrow against the Raptors.
You love iced tea. It's smooth and refreshing with just the right flavor. You also love to be a little twisted. That's why Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea has everything you love. Because it's made with real brewed tea and a kick. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Be a little twisted. Drink responsibly.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything, but hey, if you do, remember this. We've got you covered all 3 hours to be posted upon the conclusion of the show right there on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Hello, YouTubers. By the way, if you guys like the show and feel like sharing it, do so with your friends and others. It helps them find the show. Rated 5 stars, all that good stuff. All right, so, the Noles fall last night. Talked about it last hour. We'll talk about it at the beginning of each hour. Kind of what we do, a little recap for those of you hopping in the car, maybe just getting back in with the show. And I was surprisingly calm, man. Pretty calm about that game last night. Only had a couple of occasions to be slightly perturbed, in particular the amount of missed shots from Florida State. Some people hyper-focus a little bit on the missed calls at the end of the game. I don't. I felt like they evened out. I don't feel like it was egregious in any way. The last situation's kind of egregious. I mean, they gift Duke with a call there. You have the obvious holding of Patrick Williams' arm by Matthew Hurt. Probably would have called that foul. Then they didn't. Then you get the elbow to the face of Trent Forrest, and they don't call that. Instead, they call a foul on Florida State. So a lot of weird things there, sort of a bailout. But prior to that, they'd given us a break with the Polite situation. He was out of bounds, not 1 foot, but both feet, and they somehow gave us the ball there. So I don't know. It evens out. The point is, really, this was a very simple game to analyze, I felt like. I felt like Florida State did what they wanted to do defensively. When you look at how well they shut down Vernon Carey, and you see all the block shots and the ability to create turnovers and live ball steals, and just you gave yourself so many chances to be in the game, and it's really the only reason you were in the game, by creating those turnovers, because you weren't in the game because you made your free throws at the clip that you normally do, and you weren't in the game because you shot it as well as you normally do, because you didn't. And Duke made some threes. They did. And ultimately, you hate to say something is this simple, but it really turned out to be they just made more shots. Both teams got enough looks. We didn't make enough of our shots on those looks. I thought that it's self-evident when you're talking about making all of three. What was it, 20 attempts, or was it 18 or 19?
We got up to about 20 or 21 by the end of the game.
3 of 20, 3 of 21, whatever it was. I put the box score away. I don't know why the hell I did that. But you think about that. You think about Florida State doing that. It's ridiculous. You can't shoot that way and expect to win basketball games. Not against a good team, not even against an average team, especially on the road. We started off, it was a bricklaying contest. We were 0 for 9 to start the game. It was pitiful. So many stretches where you just couldn't shoot, but you were kept alive because of your tenacious defense and your ability to create turnovers. We're a tough team. We're a hardworking team. We're a talented team. And we're a team that, frankly, I think, on a neutral floor, beats Duke last night. And I also think if you just get a modicum of shots to fall, we're talking about missed layups. We're talking about missed free throws, 8 of them. We're talking about one of your big three, if you want to call it that, not playing well at all. I thought Devin Vassell was okay defensively. He was probably subpar offensively. Did hit a big shot late, but he was a subpar offensive performance from him. You had a superstar performance from Trent Forrest, but MJ Walker was not very good, not any good at all in this game last night, and that hurt you. I thought Patrick Williams had a chance at times to take over the game. He's a physical mismatch for most of the teams that we're going to play, and the sooner he gets more comfortable with that, it's like he recognized it at times last night, but was so out of control going to the basket that it was hard for him to complete the play, if you will, right? He knew he could muscle his way in. He knew that they didn't really have anybody that could hang with him, but he often went in there a little out of control. And I think as the game slows down for him, you'll see him finish around the rim a little bit better. You'll see him relax a little bit more from the floor when he takes those shots from 16 to 22. And then you'll see a more consistent performance out of him. But to play this game now, when we did, and to shoot that poorly, as we did, and to only lose by 5, well, that emboldens me. And if Leonard follows up with this theme that he's been talking about throughout the course of the year, which is no one game is any more important than another, but we learn from every game and we go about the business of getting better and maximizing our potential and try to get to the right place by season's end in order to reach our potential and make the run that we all want to make. Well, boy, he's got a lot that he can draw from in this game, because if you take that game and you lose by 5 in that place against that squad, you know that you can play an awful lot better, and they're a top 10 team. Okay, I like us. I like where we're headed.
Yeah, there's so much room for growth in so many places, and I'm not even, in my own mind, thinking about the low post where we can get, like, leaps and bounds better.
One guy out there that I'm having trouble with.
But you're seeing development, and this is the theme of yesterday's Tallahassee game day, too, a little bit, was, look at all these players that have turned into something more than they were preseason expectations-wise, or even in some cases just a month ago. Wyatt Wilkes, again, turns in a really good performance in the first half as a depth reserve, but he stays in front of the ball on defense. And that group out there gave us some legs. When there were parts of the first half where you go, ooh, standing 8 count? Are we going to respond? But we used our depth to our advantage, as we're so often doing. Raekwon Evans has been a bit of a revelation in some of the things he's been able to do. He attacks the basket last night for in close 2 off the window, where you realize, ooh, okay, what I saw putback-wise on Saturday against Miami is no fluke. And that dude can shoot a little bit for the outside. I remember talking to you at Hanger. I said, you realize we got one more year of him? Like, this isn't it. This isn't a Nichols thing.
No, there's a lot to be excited about.
So there's a lot to be excited about there. Polite needs to get his shot back. That's where he's useful on offense. It's not putting the ball on the deck, that's for sure.
That's definitely for sure.
But there is potential there. We've seen it. We've seen it for more than a one-off game or 1 out of 3. We saw it for 4 out of 5 games, what he can do from the perimeter. MJ Walker needs to get back to giving us that one great half a game. But there's a ton of places that scoring can come from, and the defense has been a constant. And how do you win games in the tournament?
Well, you get good guard play and you play good defense.
3 minutes, 4-minute droughts for your opponent. That's how you do it.
I think I think this game serves as a temporary frustration and one that emboldened me further to believe the team's got more that they can draw from and potentially reach at the end of the day. They're going to be a better team, partly because they lost that game in the manner that they did, but also because they continue to get better in a lot of other areas. You've just now really seen this team in its entirety with all of its players healthy and able to be on the floor for that really, really rich rotation. You're just now seeing that for 2 straight games. So let them continue to do this and build and confidence grow for a lot of those guys. And I think this only makes them better. I don't like losing close games when you give yourself a chance to be in it on a night where you really, really defend. You just don't make shots. But that's basketball. I mean, sometimes you don't make shots. And you know.
You're going to have to run the table, I would think, to win the ACC regular season.
Yeah, it's unlikely. It's unlikely. But I do think I wouldn't be surprised if we did come back and play really, really well, certainly against Syracuse. And I think we'll play well. We always play well at home. But I think we're going to play well for most of the remainder of the year.
The good thing about this team is, okay, yes, they have their eye on the prize long-term, but there's so many things that they can improve on in the now, like each practice, each game, that I think you're going to see an invested group from here to the end of the season. It's not like a senior-laden group. There's only one thing left to do.
Right, yeah.
There's a lot to do. Every game, there's a lot to do for each and every one of them.
Yeah. God, just a missed opportunity. I sound like a coach. Just a missed opportunity last night. Play that good of defense, and you just can't cash it in. Got to make shots. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Yay! I love Bumpus Local 349. It's a local business.
I wish they had piñatas.
Me too. But I think I'm going to order the Dolphin Reuben instead.
You know, it's not really dolphin.
Yes, it must be mahi, right?
Delicious.
Yes.
Eat local, be local, and drink local at Bumpus Local 349.
help me with my blindfold.
This hour of the Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Jerry's Cigar Shop, 2810 Shera Road and 2910 Cary Forest Parkway. Online at jerrycigarshop.com.
Lane's Medical Shop has all of your home medical needs. They carry home oxygen, hospital beds, nebulizers, walkers, wheelchairs, orthotics, diabetic shoes, and all sleep apnea supplies. Lane's also has a weight loss clinic in-house, no appointment necessary, including B12 injections and any prescriptions necessary with the lowest prices around, and delivers to Tallahassee in South Georgia. Located only 40 miles from Tallahassee. Go see Blake today, 210 West Main Street, Colquitt, Georgia, 229-758-9111.
From the moment her granddad put her face on the package, little Debbie's been the sweetheart of American snackage. And so when you're out shopping with a family to please, grab some Little Debbie treats for spontaneous parties. Oh, and breakfasts and lunches. They make great road trip food. Grab all your favorite varieties for any time you're in the mood. From our family to yours, we take pride in what we make. So hit the store and unwrap a smile, because today we bake.
Well, would you look at this goodness? Our friends at For the Table Hospitality are doing the right thing per usual. It's time for the 4th annual Tallahassee Wine Mixer and Mozfest. Tallahassee's best wine festival is back for another year right there in the shadow of beautiful Doak Campbell Stadium. The date is Saturday, March the 7th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Centrale Pizza, Parm and Bar. VIP tickets are just $60 and feature unlimited wine sampling, unlimited charcuterie, ooh, fancy, unlimited mozzarella cheese, oh, forget about it, this is good stuff, unlimited games and a commemorative glass to boot. 2020 is going to be the best Tallahassee wine mixer yet. We certainly like to thank our friends at Visit Tallahassee for all of their help. For tickets, go to eventbrite.com and search Tallahassee Wine Mixer.
Hi, this is Peter Bond, owner of Jerry's Cigar Shop. Jerry's has been a local favorite for cigar enthusiasts for the last 25 years. We have the largest walk-in humidors in town, filled to the brim with an amazing cigar selection. Relax in one of our leather chairs and enjoy an ice-cold beer or a glass of wine with your cigar. Jerry's is a great place to watch sports on our big flat-screen TVs and offers a comfortable setting for lively conversation. Visit our original store on Shera Road or our new second location on Cary Forest Parkway. We hope to see you soon.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachian Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature witch, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5.
The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
Obviously, the Saints looking at their situation with Taysom Hill, but then in addition, of course, yesterday we learned that Phillip Rivers had agreed to call it a day, at least with the Chargers. And of course, he's moved his entire family to Florida, and that leads to wild speculation. But in truth, you have established some superstars and others, certainly names of note, guys who could use a new start, others who never lived up to their potential or certainly their draft position. There's a lot going on with quarterback play in the National Football League right now. That includes Jameis Winston down in Tampa. But, I mean, Drew Brees, obviously, what happens with him? Tom Brady, another talking point, major talking point. But then the likes of Marcus Mariota, Teddy Bridgewater, Case Keenum, Dak Prescott, aforementioned Phillip Rivers. What happens with Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee? Do they commit long-term? And Jameis Winston. And all of those guys are guys that are either working with expiring contracts and or willing to sniff the open market and find out whether or not they could be had for more elsewhere and start anew. In Tampa, it is said now by reports down there, the Bucs have already met with Bruce Arians. And that would be ownership, that would be Jason Light, that would be everybody involved in the decision regarding Jameis Winston from the Bucs perspective. Obviously, Jameis has his people. And I guess from what I'm reading, the thought is that the Bucs are really relying heavily on whatever recommendation Bruce Arians makes. You have to figure that the reason for that is once you make the decision to hire Bruce Arians as a coach, you're in a win-now mode. He's 67 years old. He's not going to be here forever. He's had battles with his health in the past. He's not a guy that figures to be in the league 5 years from now. Probably not going to be in the league 3 years from now. He's a guy that they thought could come in, a two-time coach of the year, assess the Jameis situation, install a new offense, deal with the locker room in a way that helps mend the fractured nature of that group from the previous few years. I think he's failed and succeeded in various ways so far. His game day coaching leaves a little bit to be desired. Getting the most out of guys and changing the locker room environs, I think, has happened. I absolutely do believe that. They'll play for him. They'll play hard for him. They respect him because he respects them. And so that aspect, there was some healing involved there. It's fascinating now to hear the rumors that surround the Bucs, partly because of what happened with Phillip Rivers and the idea that they could bring him in. You and I talked about this last night. In my mind, that's a disastrous decision. He's a less talented, interception-prone Jameis. He doesn't have the same upside as Jameis Winston, so why would you do that? And if you brought him on board for any reason and you thought was that he'd back up Jameis Winston, well, I think you're creating a controversy and a problem that's not there currently, would make it that much more difficult to get the kind of year out of Jameis that you're looking for. To me, you have to franchise Jameis here for a season, and basically when you do it, you're admitting that this is it. This is your make-or-break season. Our defense came around and took huge strides in the second half of last year. It looks like they're ready to be a much better unit for an entire season. Now, you're going to lose something off of that. You can't get everybody to come back. But they do look like a team that had developed the younger guys on the back end of that defense, and there was enough up front to feel good about. And obviously, you feel real good about where you're at linebacker right now. So you're in a position defensively to be middle of the pack, if not better, this upcoming season, I do believe. Offensively, the question is at quarterback, you still don't seem to have the consistency at running back you're looking for in offensive line. You're obviously pretty well loaded at wide receiver, and you can be okay at tight end, just depending on the decision you make there. I mean, you got to get something out of Howard at some point or cut bait and go back to Cameron, I guess.
See what you can get for him, yeah.
So you're in your situation, at this point, the Bucs are pretty close. It's fair to say the Bucs aren't that far away from being highly competitive with the changes that are happening within the division as well.
Yeah, for me, obviously, the net effect of Bruce has been largely positive. I'm with you that game day coaching, clock management, challenge management are all awful. I mean, awful. But he's got people believing again. He's empowered his assistants for better or worse to make the team better than it was for week one. And if you look at the defensive side of the ball, you'd say that's a rousing success. Mm-hmm. You empowered Todd Bowles to develop these guys, breed confidence. He made the move to get rid of Vernon Hargraves, which magically it improved what we were doing in the secondary. Go figure. But then he's also allowing Byron Leftwich to sink or swim a little bit.
Yeah, and there are days that he's certainly sunk.
Yeah, there's no doubt. The thing in the Jameis conversation that I'd like to revisit, at least just for a moment, is pocket mobility. He's got a lot of pocket mobility. And look at the guys that are on the market right now. I know that Pro Football Focus and the advanced metrics might suggest that this offensive line is average to above average. I disagree with that. I think Jameis' pocket mobility created a lot of plays that weren't there. We all know about the interceptions. We get it, 30 of them. That's a ton. But he made a ton of plays. He kept a ton of plays alive. And if you're looking at a talent pool that consists of, if you're not going for the younger part of these free agents, if you're looking at Brady, if you're looking at Breeze, you're looking at Phillip Rivers.
Ooh, no, yeah.
There's not, I mean, really? With that offensive line and the pressure that's coming from all angles? You got to shore up the right tackle position. You got to fix the running game. No matter who the quarterback is for Tampa Bay, those are the charges of this offseason. Retain what talent you can and improve and try and establish yourself a balanced attack on offense. And then the quarterback is going to be a name that people recognize, whoever the hell it is. My whole thing is Jameis kept us out of a lot of negative plays. We all talk about the ones that he created out of thin air that weren't there, and somehow he made it a negative play. But he kept us out of a ton of them, too. He cleaned up a lot of mistakes for his offensive line, and he cleaned up for the fact that we didn't have a consistent running game. Can the guys that are going to come in and replace him do the same things that he can in that regard?
Well, and also that was all happening while the entire group was learning a new offense. So you're going to take a large chunk of the season in which many of these mistakes were made, and you're going to chalk it up to him not being on the same page with his wide receivers. I mean, we saw a number of interceptions in the first half of the season where the two parties involved, Jameis and either, obviously. I mean, first of all, you start early in the year, I think 4 of the interceptions are on O.J. Howard. There's one right in his hands, but then I'm talking about just this sort of lackadaisical way in which he runs routes and wrong routes.
I think when Jameis got to 20, Bruce said 12 of them are
there were
on the quarterback and 8 of them aren't.
Evans and Godwin were confused frequently.
Yeah.
The first half of the season, Evans was terrible. Godwin then was interesting in that I love the responsibility he takes. He's not one of these guys to pound his chest and get angry after interceptions. They usually are looking at each other about what did we not see. Mm-hmm. Those two in particular are working hard to get that right, because you'd see Jameis look at him and sort of, why'd you go left when you should have? Why'd you zig when you should have zagged? You know what's going on here?
Skinny post, huh?
Yeah. So
that's a fly read, my man.
And we know from history, and including what Arians has to say, that more often than not, whether you're for or against Jameis, you're best suited to side with him when it comes to reading a play, right?
Yeah.
Now, he may not make the throw accurately, or he may screw something else up. He's usually reading the safety correctly.
Well, and here's the thing about these decisions. You know, most of the guys, unless you want to bring Bridgewater into the discussion, to a lesser degree, for me, Tannehill, but if you want to bring younger players into the discussion, then maybe the nature of it is a little bit different. But if Brady is a solution that you want to posit, or Breeze or Rivers or whatever, you're looking at a 2-year window that you're getting out of that. Would you rather have the 2-year window of those guys versus a franchise tag Jameis, and you get 16 more weeks of evidence to work with?
Well, I want the more evidence now that I know that they know the offense, and I also know this, that it's not just the first 8 to 10 games, which Arians talks about, and Carson Palmer and other quarterbacks have talked about, absolutely present growing pains. But in addition to that, you got to remember that, the last 3 weeks of the season. So now we're talking about the bulk of a season. He's got guys that are injured. His 2 top receivers are out. He breaks his thumb.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many things that are happening there. I want another season of evidence. That's what I want. And I'll tell you what, if he goes out and he just shows that he cannot resist and he's going to continue to throw, 20 interceptions or more in a year, okay, we're going to have to move on.
Yeah, to me, it's risk reward. You know, if he figures it out, then you've got a solution for 10 years, 12 years from now.
Because the upside is so big.
Right. But if he doesn't, your risk is minimal. Even if you get like an incomplete grade, let's say he plays well for 8 games, but he's hurt and he can't play the other 8, you can franchise tag him again.
Yeah.
You could do it a second time. So all the leverage is in Tampa Bay's court here. I wouldn't cut bait yet. It's not like Brady 10 years ago was on the market. It's old man Brady. It's not like Phillip Rivers, who was capable of playing on a bad ACL and nearly leading his team to a Super Bowl, is on the market. It's a dude with a shot arm. Same thing with Breeze. I just, if these are the options that you're going to give me, it's either going to be the Bridge or it's going to be Jameis. Those would be my two. And I'd probably stick with Jameis because the upside's way higher. And you have him under team control for 1 year. What if you sign Bridgewater to a 5-year deal, 3 of which are guaranteed, and he's terrible?
Oh, you're screwed, right?
You're screwed.
Yeah, no.
This gives you more flexibility.
This gives you a lot more flexibility, and the upside is greater. I mean, we already know it. The man can throw for 5,000 yards and 30-plus touchdowns. I mean, you don't get this every day. You don't see that kind of talent. He makes throws that no other quarterback in the league, or very few, make on a consistent basis. Now, he also makes throws that obviously make you scratch your head and lead to this larger discussion. There's no getting around that. I mean, I think you can be level-headed and say that both are true.
Yeah, it's not a cut-and-dry issue to me. Maybe after week 6, week 8, I'd say let's cut and dry. You extend him, you give him the money. Now, he's backed out of that place where he had earned guaranteed money for a long time. He did back out of that place, but I don't think it's to the degree that you walk away from him. Carson Palmer owes Jameis Winston nothing. He owes Bruce Arians nothing. He could offer. He's been blunt for years about his contract situation, retirement,
all that stuff.
Trying to get out of the Bengals situation. I mean, he's been blunt. Remember those interviews he used to do with Dan Patrick? You go, oh my God, you hardly hear this level of transparency. And he doesn't have a dog in this fight. And he still comes around and gives his analysis and says, this dude's going to flourish. I listen to that guy because he's seen it and he's been there.
And he's not the only one. You hear lots of people, lots of former Pro Bowl quarterbacks talking about that, saying, I like him. I think he's going to be fine. I mean, Brett Favre said as much as well. There have been plenty of those guys to come in and say, he's good. He's good. Drew Brees said it. I mean, there have been plenty of these guys that are all-world players saying he's going to be really good. Let's not forget, some of this is colored by the fact, and again, conveniently ignores that he didn't have his top 2 receivers. Hell, he didn't have his top 4. We ended up throwing to guys he'd never heard of before. Literally, we were throwing to guys that we had never, ever heard of on the roster, plus with a broken thumb, because prior to the last 2 games, they're on the cusp of finishing 500 or better. They've ridden a 4-game win streak. He's flourishing. It was a no-brainer where we were going. Then he has the 3-interception game, the thumb, the situation.
The Houston first half happens. Undercut everything.
But again, that was not an ideal set of circumstances.
It's not, but it's just Jesus. If you make a mistake, can't it be a one-hopper?
Well,
does it have to be a 6?
Yeah, we've talked about this. I mean, if a ball is tipped, it is going to be picked off by the opposing team. If we're the ones doing the tipping, there is 0 chance a Buccaneer is in the picture. It's bizarre.
I just think listen, he's got to be on board for that too. He better not put up a stink about it. You know what I mean? His camp. If we say franchise tag,
well,
he can't pout and say, I'm not reporting to camp. You can't do that now.
No, but everybody does something close to that. I mean, nobody who seems to want to be franchised. And a lot of people, if they believe there would be other offers coming and they could get a better deal, a long-term deal, they'll fight for it. And I don't blame them for fighting for that if they think they've got it. If you're in Winston's camp and you're looking at this as, listen, the circumstances have been less than desirable here. The franchise is a mess. We've gone through 3 coaches since we've arrived. I've still not only made the Pro Bowl, but broke every franchise record under the sun, broke Dan Marino's records, broke all these other records that have been ushered in by Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I think we've done enough here to say, let's sign a deal. And then the franchise says no, and you're like, okay, well, the Bears want to sign us to a 4-year deal. You're going to argue for that.
Yeah, you would, but I'm saying the way that he has been, a model teammate outside of one glaring omission, and that's being suspended for a few games and being away from his team. I don't know that you could survive as a franchise with him holding out and that distraction.
No,
what that would cause.
No. I
so you'd
agree.
have to come to an understanding.
You need to come to an understanding. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
If your car was barely bumped and you think you're going to get rich, we're not the firm for you. We limit our practice to serious cases with legitimate claims. Second, we only take cases involving real injuries. If you know you aren't hurt but think you can fool your way into a quick settlement, we're not the firm for you. We encourage our clients to heal up and get better, not sit on the couch and expect a windfall. Third, we don't want clients who are just in it for the money. If the very first thing you think of after getting hurt is calling pound something or other on your cell phone instead of calling 911, we're not the firm for you. Your health should always come first. And finally, we won't blow smoke about a big money outcome just to get your case. Other firms overpromise and underdeliver. Our only promise is that we'll work harder than anyone to get you the best result. Remember, the law firm you have representing you makes all the difference, so don't settle for less. Call Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey, and let us put our reputation to work for you.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code, Football Edition. This is how you say, game tonight. Bring Bud Light. Fantasy fees are due. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light, crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, Big Bend community. Budget Printing is here for all your printing needs and promotional products. We offer competitive pricing and timely service. And we're not just all about paper. We have a variety of customized products, including t-shirts, koozies, banners, and pens. So when you want your name on it, we've got you covered. Budget Printing. Stop by 1366 Blountstown Street or give us a call, 850-576-3332.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by state and driving behaviors. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
By the way, a reminder, my friends at Orange Theory Fitness, who put me to the test yesterday. It's Heart Health Month, I should note. February is. And you'll get a free core heart rate monitor when you sign up for a Premier or Elite membership through, the remainder of this week, I guess. You got about 6 more days to do it. You get through this week and early next. And if you do that, that's good stuff, because the heart rate monitor that they're talking about, the one that I have and that I use, there's like 3 different kinds you can get. The one they're talking about giving away is Mac Daddy. It's the truth.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I love it. It's really, really, it's not intrusive. You can just, you barely even know it's on. And they've got ones that wrap around. Some people like the ones around their chest and all that other stuff, but I like it to be fairly subtle. And so this is that one. It's a good one. So when you sign up, you get that, get it free, and they're normally kind of expensive, so that's a good thing. Just a thought. OrangeTheoryFitness.com to learn more. I talked to you about Orange Theory. I don't want to beat you over the head with it. You guys know I go there. And last night when we were at Hangar 38 for the watch party, Nate goes there, and I would just tell you that he has lost, I think, like 80 pounds.
Yeah, he did the stadium challenge over the weekend.
He did
that whole obstacle course.
A lot of the folks at Orange Theory Fitness asked me if I was going to be there. I said, no, I'm not. They all did it, but I guess I wasn't a good teammate. I was like, no, I'm good.
You're going to pay me to be there?
I'm like, listen, I do a lot of stuff. I work out 4 to 5 days a week at Orange Theory. I don't need to also add to it by going over there and running the stadium with Gronk.
I mean, it could be arranged.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Not just going to show up there.
Hey, so there's this. He's getting more and more insufferable. It is difficult to think of a way that this ends well for him. I can just see this going, maybe not towards Bob Knight territory, but we're getting to a place where all the good will get overshadowed by these kinds of weekly outbursts. Mike Krzyzewski last night after the game. Did you hear him?
I did not.
So you recall after he told the Cameron crazies, quote unquote, to shut up and began to scream at them with the situation involving former Blue Devil Jeff Capel when he and Pitt were in town, and they were saying nice things to him, come sit with us.
Yeah.
He mistook it. He later on had to go back and apologize, and he looked like a fool.
Yeah, we have audio of that, actually. Shut up! He's one of us!
Please never do that again.
That was our audio.
That hurts. So they returned home to Cameron Indoor last night, and it's the 70-65 game that we've talked about today against us. And Coach K, after the game, again took issue with the fans. Oh. He gestured at them following the game. When he was asked what the gesture meant, he said he wanted the fans to, quote, know what the hell happened. Krzyzewski went on to say that the fans weren't appreciative enough.
They weren't appreciative enough. Of what?
Quote, come on. Not that they weren't good, but come on. We have a really young team. They're playing against a top 10 team, a team that can win in the Final Four after just beating UNC on the road. Come on.
Oh, I did see this. Yes. He said something to the effect of this is more of an old school team of theirs. It's not littered with, top 5 picks.
Yes.
It's merely littered with 7 top 40 players or 8 top 40 players or 12, whatever the hell they have on their roster.
Quote, we don't go to the supermarket and buy these things,
What?
And they weren't bad, but you've got to be even more hungry. You've got to be even more appreciative. Not of me. I don't need that. I've got everything I want with my team. I've got everything. These kids, it's their first time, and they're young, and they just fought like crazy. There should be standing ovations. There should be going nuts. Not that they're not. What's that mean at the end? He's trying to back up. He's hearing himself say things aloud and then replaying it in his head and realizes this isn't going to play well. Quote, we've been spoiled to watch Zion Williamson and Jason Tatum and Marvin Bagley. Here we go. Recruit. And all those guys play. That's not who we have. We have an old-fashioned team that needs for everybody to be hungry. Again, that's not to say our fans, they're accustomed to outstanding, and this team is trying to be. Just don't get on the ride at the end. Be on the whole way. The students, the line monitors, and all that. They've been spectacular. They work with my daughter, Debbie, who's an assistant AD here. You're just the biggest a-hole ever.
My daughter, Debbie. She earned the job, okay? She earned it.
He wants to make sure that his remarks are not going to be misinterpreted. When I say this, some of you are going to put that I'm knocking on the fans. Try to listen to what I'm saying, okay? They're good. We just need more. I don't need it, but it'd be good for my guys. That's all. That's why I did that. I hope you don't take it as if I was taking bows. Or bows, excuse me, Jeff Reed. I hope you don't take it as if I was taking bows.
I was giving bows.
Yeah.
Taking bows and giving bows. I'm not saying that about the fans.
I caught myself because I actually misread that and thought that he said something else, and that if he had said what I thought he said, I was about to buckle over with laughter. I thought he was...
I'm not saying the fans are garbage. They're just terrible, though. They're terrible. But I'm not saying that. Listen to what I'm saying.
Listen to what I'm saying.
They're not terrible.
I'm not trying.
They're garbage. My guys deserve better. We don't have talent here at all. This is all effort.
Yeah, that that's just not. It's just stop. You can't win with this. It's awful. It's it's absurd too. Know what the hell just happened. I'm not being critical.
That's not what I'm saying.
They're all wonderful people, the ticket takers and all. I mean, they work with my daughter, Debbie. She's an assistant AD.
They're not terrible. They're just garbage, okay? They need to get better. They need to have some respect for the game.
That was good. That was rich. When I read that, saw that, I thought, man, just let it go. Just go win basketball games. That's all.
Which contract extension had a redacted provision that she gets the AD job? That's what I want to know.
Well, he'd be furious to hear you say that, sir.
How dare you, son? Yeah. Listen, son.
Yeah, there would be that. Right up there with Calhoun's.
Well, that's a G
funny.
move. That's not. He's not taking it personally. Yeah. He's like, oh, the hell with you. I make a lot more than that.
Yeah. That too was funny. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
200,000-mile warranty only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. And with over 100 Ram 1500s in stock, they are ready for immediate delivery. You can lease it for just $249 a month with just $19.99 down. The all-new 2020 Jeep Gladiator is the hottest Jeep in the market right now. And you can lease it for just $289 a month with just $19.99 down. And all of our Jeeps come with a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner. And always right on the price. See dealer for details on powertrain warranty. Dealer retains all rebates and incentives. Sport package leases are 36 months with $19.88 down and 10,000 miles with approved credit.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Yes, yes, yes. That is right, good sir. Baseball is upon us.
Hey, man, what are you having?
An El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Going all in on the Gordos in honor of baseball, my good friend.
Get me an El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Those are the reasons you always come back.
You were all in on that singing.
And I danced, too.
No. Not necessary.
Watch. All right.
Off the bar, Eddie!
No, watch.
And the tapping?
Oh.
Sweet Jesus, Eddie, are you all right?
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Gordos, where Eddie will dance on the bar. In baseball. Yay, baseball. And Gordos.
Time to head to Cabo's. Cabo's lunch deal menu features soup and salad, the ultimate wet supreme burrito, a quarter-pound cheeseburger, taco salad, and many more. All include tea or coffee and are just $8.79. Cabo's Island Grill and Bar, located in the Appalachia Parkway Shopping Center.
Hi, this is Peter Bond, owner of Jerry's Cigar Shop. Jerry's has been a local favorite for cigar enthusiasts for the last 25 years. We have the largest walk-in humidors in town, filled to the brim with an amazing cigar selection. Relax in one of our leather chairs and enjoy an ice-cold beer or a glass of wine with your cigar. Jerry's is a great place to watch sports on our big flat-screen TVs and offers a comfortable setting for lively conversation. Visit our original store on Sharer Road or our new second location on Cary Forest Parkway. We hope to see you soon.
One of my favorite things about being a member at Orange Theory Fitness is the sense of community. Initially, after taking the tour and seeing the state-of-the-art equipment, I was intrigued. I became convinced even once I researched the science-backed, technology-track, coach-inspired workouts, all of that. But what I didn't count on was the support, the sense of camaraderie shown by the members and the coaches. You realize pretty quickly you're not alone. And when you're pushing yourself through barriers and attempting to be your personal best, you can use all the help you can get. And it's there. It's amongst the members and coaches at Orange Theory Fitness. To learn more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
You can't protect against everything life has in store, but you can sure try. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, we help you protect your investment with regular maintenance options that can keep your system safe. Receive same-day service when you sign up for the Total Comfort Service Program at BaranoAC.com. Florida license number CAC 1816186.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
LSU. I'll revisit this talking point next hour as, again, the chagrin I feel every time we announce a major series against somebody and it's not here in Tallahassee or their home field, their home stadium. But such is life. That's where it's at. The money grab is real, and the series is going to happen 2022 and 2023 against LSU. Mike Norvell said this about it. I'm excited about this series. Florida State has a rich tradition in Louisiana, the home of many former Noles, including Warrick Dunn and Travis Minor. And all three of our national championship teams had at least one player from Louisiana. It continues to be an important area for us now. We added 2 players from Louisiana in our first signing class, and it will be great for them and other future Noles to be able to play back in their home state. This series matches 2 of the iconic brands in college football, and I know our fans will have a great time in New Orleans. I want to thank our administration for all their hard work on this and for continuing to pursue first-class experiences for our student athletes. He comes at it straight about recruiting. That's what you do. Yeah, that's funny. I just reading that quote, I was like, well done, sir.
Yeah, fluffy Bisquick pancakes.
The state of Louisiana is very important to us, Tom. It's nothing about the team we're playing or anything else. It's just we love the kids in New Orleans.
This is
Louisiana.
Like when somebody, you're doing a post-game interview and you have a TV reporter asking you a question, and you don't look at them. You look straight into the camera as you answer the question. Well, I'm glad you asked that. The one thing that was the most important to me about today's victory was we got to do it in front of so many great fans.
Yeah.
With this iconic brand, we are elevating it to a new place, and we are sending a clear message to the high schools throughout the Southeast that this is a premier place to come and to work on your skills.
And the question was about the running game.
Right. Yeah. Coach, you're able to run for 4 yards to carry for the first time this season.
That's true, Jeff. I appreciate the question. You know, the thing about Florida State University is we've always been committed to the run. We're committed to our student athletes in a similar vein. And from there, it's just boom, 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 boom. LSU and Florida State are 2 of college football's most iconic brands, and we look forward to renewing the series, said Pete Derzis, ESPN Senior Vice President of College Sports Programming and ESPN Events. Thanks for helping out with the pitch there, Pete. When scheduling neutral site games, our goal is always to provide fans and viewers an incredible matchup, and we feel we've done exactly that with these 2 highly anticipated events. The Noles are 8-2 in the Superdome. I was there for the big matchup against Virginia Tech, amongst others. That is mentioned, the 2000 Sugar Bowl, that is, earning FSU its 2nd national championship and completing the first ever wire-to-wire season in the AP Pro Press poll history. You can do it. FSU owns a 36-12 record in NFL stadiums all-time and 9-2 all-time in neutral site season openers, and has won 8 of its last 9 season openers played on a neutral field. In regular season neutral site games, the Noles are a robust 23-6-2, including a 16-1 mark since the start of the 1990 season.
Yes, bring back all of these marks to the 90s or mid-80s, and let's fortify those numbers so we can keep hitting on those.
We've been working on this for a few years, said Sugar Bowl CEO Jeff Hundley. The stakes are high, but with LSU and FSU, we have 2 nationally recognized programs. You could say, Jeff, iconic brands. Within driving distance of New Orleans, we're expecting a big, enthusiastic crowd here for Labor Day weekend in 2022. It should be a lot of fun. Well, when 2 iconic brands meet, Tom.
I want to credit the proper person, but I can't remember who it was. Maybe I'll see him this weekend at Hauser. But somebody who we both know has been pushing for a while that those 2 iconic brands would meet on the Diamond over in Pensacola.
Or annually. just Ed Hauser or Alex Box. We don't need to.
But if you had one of those series, it's a long weekend. You could call it a classic.
Like we do
slap
with
a logo
Florida,
on it for a brand. People could spend a weekend at the beach. You could get the Creole and the Knowles alike, and there you go.
I do. I like it. Florida State is returning to Camping World Stadium. Oh, the other side. The other shoe drops. Damn it. I was having fun with all that other stuff. For the first time since defeating Ole Miss to start the 2016 season and is 9-0-2 all-time in Orlando, the Noles' only other season opening game in Orlando was a 70-26 win over Duke in 1995, and I was there. We are excited to bring yet another thrilling kickoff game to Orlando, and we look forward to hosting college football fans from around the globe for this incredible matchup. Yes, the folks in Australia, Japan, Norway, can't wait to come to Orlando to watch LSU and Florida State get it on.
We do appreciate our fellow Noles in Australia. We do have a current member of our roster as hails from Australia, and so
that's right.
This is a place where you can come as an Australian to
as
work
is the
on your
case
craft.
With most iconic brands, we welcome folks from around the globe, including our punter from Australia, who will be happy to welcome his fans, fellow Australians. Australians?
Australians? So, like he slips up. Fellow Australians. To work on their craft. The message is clear to the high school kids
in
of Australia.
Yeah.
Florida State is a destination for you.
I remember one time seeing a kid run a 40 in Brisbane, and I've never forgot it. We recruit the area hard.
Australians come to Florida State.
So from around the globe, said Steve Hogan, CEO of Florida Citrus Sports, events like these have a profound impact on the Central Florida community. We can't wait to show the student athletes, coaches, families, and supporters of our long-standing partners in Tallahassee and Baton Rouge what makes Orlando one of the country's top neutral site destinations. We need a neutral site game, Lanny. Where should we go? Well, I got to tell you, Orlando is certainly one of the top neutral site destinations on the tip of the tongue of football fans everywhere.
You know what? I've seen that several times on I-4. Many billboards say the same thing.
Yeah.
Welcome to Orlando.
Florida State has secured the majority of its non-conference opponents for the next 4 seasons. In 2021, the Noles opened with Notre Dame at home. That's here on Labor Day. Right, how about that? A Labor Day game in Tallahassee right there. Come on down.
We will show more hospitality to them than they showed us.
I want that lady and her husband to try to find their seats in the blazing heat. And then I want to trip them down the steps. That'd be me. I'd like to do that, specifically to them.
Imagine facing the reality that you'll never win a football national title again. Could you imagine making the trip down to Tallahassee knowing that?
In 2021, that's that game, and then we'll host UMass. Hey, now. And Jacksonville State.
UMass. A little Walt Bell action.
If he's still there. The 2022 schedule also includes Louisiana and Tallahassee, and 2023 features a home game against Southern Miss. Season tickets for the 2020 campaign, which begins September the 5th against West Virginia in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game in Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium, can be purchased at Seminoles.com. There you go.
/iconic brand.
That's rich, though. That's good. Hey, the guy helped us out. The CEO helped us out. Throw it down. You think Mike sent him an email the night before? Make sure we slip in iconic brand, please.
Oh, I think he prepared that entire statement.
Just read this, dude.
Either he's got a speech. Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just read this.
He's either got a speechwriter or he's got these things down, and he's got them pre-written.
As for our representation, not on the football field, but off of it in the athletics department, Director of Athletics David Coburn said, "We are very pleased to officially announce these games, which will provide great trips for our fans. The 2 games will also allow our coaching staff to show off our program in areas where we recruit heavily. And this adds another Power 5 out-of-conference opponent to our schedule. I'd like to thank the staff at LSU with whom we worked hand-in-hand to make this happen. I also want to thank our partners at the Sugar Bowl, the Florida Citrus Sports, and ESPN Events for their help and support in making this high-profile series take place.
And our compatriots of the city of Tallahassee for their sacrifice.
And all the vendors here who once again take it in the shorts because we move a great home game to a neutral site locale We're sorry. It's the Jeff Cameron Show. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Hope you're well. Thanks for tuning to it. Great to have you along. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. But hey, if you are to miss something, we got you covered all 3 hours posted upon the conclusion of the show, both to iTunes and in our own audio vault. Hello, YouTubers. If you want to email us, you can. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. A lot of emails, a lot of tweets last night, a lot of conversation, a lot of talking about the game that was the Noles fall on the road at Duke. Our thanks to the friends at Hangar 38 for hosting us as we hosted a watch party. Monday night watch parties are always kind of tough to get by to, but we appreciate the people who do, and certainly we'll have more. Would have liked to have seen a better result, but, in the hours that passed, and we've talked some about it today, an awful lot about it, in fact, today. But as I went home last night, and one of the things I like about basketball is it gets over at a reasonable hour. And I'm getting old. Reasonable hours matter. I like to be home by 9:30. Like to be done with my day. Like to be close to bed by around 9:30. That's true. That's where I've gotten to now. I'm in bed every night by no later than 11. I can tell you that, right? So 11, I'm like, oh, it's 11. What are we doing?
11 has a gravity to it. You go, oh, no, I've ruined tomorrow.
Well, you start to think about the possibility of ruining tomorrow at 11. Sometimes you blow right past that stop sign. You're like, you know what, tomorrow's gone. I'm staying up.
I'm staying.
I'm staying up. I'm finishing this beer and watching the rest of this movie that I got interested in inexplicably at 10:40. I'm watching it. Well, that'll happen.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't stay up till 11 on Sunday, but I stayed up later than I wanted to. It's probably 9:45, 10. Warrior, one of your movies that you told me to go see long ago.
Yeah,
it's on demand. It's on demand for free again, man.
Can't help it.
Oh, I had to.
Freaking Nolte.
I had to. Yep.
The whole thing. Yeah, it's good.
Stop the ship.
It's really good.
Stop the ship.
And I tried to convince our mutual friend Matt Britton to go watch that movie, and he hasn't because the premise scares him away. As in, same thing that I thought when I saw the preview and heard people talk about it. I went, oh, really? We're going to watch these two guys, MMA fighters, this rags to riches story is going to suck. It's awesome. That's not the story at all.
No.
Yeah.
The script itself, I'm not so sure. But the acting performances,
really
they bring that thing to a new level.
Oh, and Nolte in particular is, he could have won an Academy Award. He was incredible.
Tommy.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many parts. So many parts. The beach conversation between the brothers, you're like, oh, man, this is for real. Actually, he's scary. What's his name scary?
Tom Hardy?
Yeah, you're kind of
I think he's beefing up around the Bane roll time.
He's huge in that movie. But anyhow, that said. So I get home, and the game was on my mind. I was thinking about the game, and I was thinking about, what was I upset about, if anything? What was I frustrated by? And there are individual things that bother you. If you just want to start with some things, you would say, that the missed calls at the end are a little frustrating. You get the one kid fouling Patrick Williams egregiously, and then elbowing Trent Forrest in the face, knocks his contact out. They bailed Duke out in essence by calling it in the cylinder foul. It's just nonsense. Everything about it. Actually, the weird part about it is not only did they make that call, there's no foul on Trent Forrest. What are they calling? What he got elbowed in the eye. What are we calling? But I didn't get that. I know it's easy if you just think of singular moments and focus on that, especially end of game moments, because you get really mad and you say, "Oh, typical." But in truth, I thought on the whole they officiated the game fairly evenly. And let's not forget moments before that. They absolutely screwed Duke on the polite play. And he doesn't have 1 foot out of bounds. He has 2 feet out of bounds. He's not inbounds in any way, shape, or form. And it is evident upon the first replay. I have no idea why, if you have the ESPN feed available to you to go in addition to whatever, what the hell is the name of that other feed?
DV Sport or whatever, yeah.
What are they using that for? That seems useless if they can't get that feed. But all they had to do is look at whatever the TV monitor was and they'd be like, oh, we're done here. Instead of taking 5 minutes to It's just
to
stupid.
give us the ball, which would have been legendary for a good reason if we come down the court and
Yeah,
hit a 3 there, tie the game, and we go on to win it.
It benefited us, but in truth, it's part of a bigger problem with officiating in all sports. It's just they're not very succinct. They don't do things in a timely fashion, nor do they seem to defer to common sense and reason all that often. There's a lot of elements to officiating across sports that really bother you. But I thought that's not something to really hyper-focus on here. The reality of that game is that Florida State should have won, and Florida State was better than Duke. There you go. I said it. Florida State on a neutral floor, Florida State, if they played a week from now on proper rest, having seen what I just saw, I'd pick them. I'd take the Noles to win the game. Yes, they forced 20 turnovers or whatever it was. I think it's 16 live ball. And you probably can't do that again. Can't duplicate that. And it's a wasted defensive effort that you did all of that on the road and gave yourself all those extra chances and still couldn't win the game is an argument for Duke to win a rematch, right? We're not going to go 3 of 20 from beyond the arc. We're not going to shoot that poorly from the free throw line. Those were all outliers. Everything about what Florida State did from the field in terms of missing layups, missing threes, missing free throws, if you look at all the data points on the season, that game was an outlier. Us forcing turnovers, maybe not to that extreme, is not an outlier. It's what we do. We lead the ACC in that category. We're one of the best 3 in the entire country in causing and creating turnovers. The outlier was that we couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. The outlier was that they had a kid who's not hit multiple threes in a game, but 7 times this year hit 3 right off the bat. The outlier is that guys that don't make shots for them made shots for them at will. I think Florida State looked deeper and more athletic when I look at the teams. I thought they looked longer, deeper, more athletic than Duke. This is not sour grapes. Duke gets credit for what? For making shots. If you're going to make shots, you're going to win games. And sometimes it's that way. That's what makes the tournament precarious. The tournament can be precarious in that you can do all the things that you've shown yourself to do over the course of a season. You can be the team that you've proven yourself to be, that the season, which is a mirror being held up to you, proved that you were. You could do all those things and catch a kid who goes berserk. It happens. We've all watched it happen, and that's why in a one-and-done tournament you hold your breath against anybody, because you never know if some slappy is going to go berserk and have a game that he hasn't had all season long and hit 7 threes. I mean, it happens all the time. So that's why the tournament is scary, and it's why it all bothers us. But if you just take on the whole who the 2 teams were and how they played last night, when you look at the block shots and you look at all the things that Florida State did, they missed a ton of wide open looks. And these are not shots that they've been consistently missing. These are shots that they've consistently made. You look at us statistically, offensively, what we are this year. Yes, we're better at home. Everybody is. But we hit more of those shots, way more of those shots than we did last night. And it wasn't anything special. I will say this. Duke, man-to-man, they get up on you. Tom and I were talking about this a lot last night. They'll guard you tough. Well, they're a good team. They're an elite team. And so because they are, they're gonna have players that impress you. They're gonna have stretches where you go, wow, Duke's really good. Yeah. But so are we, clearly. None of that made a difference. We're down 11. We never bat an eyelash. We come all the way back to pull within 1 at half. The way that second half is being played, if you just knock down a modicum of shots, if you don't miss 8 free throws, 8, which we don't all year long. Number 1 free throw shooting team in the conference. That's an outlier of what happened last night. These are all things that I'm telling you, I'll just say this. If Florida State plays Duke again, I'm comfortable. I'm fine with that. I hope it's for the ACC championship in the tournament. I'd be fine with that. I actually like that matchup more than I like this return matchup against Louisville.
I hope it's for the whole damn thing next time we see him.
It'd be great. But we missed layups, we missed shots, we missed free throws. We obviously couldn't hit the broadside of a barn from 3. You didn't get a great game out of Devin Vassell, who's 4 of 12, who does nothing for the first 10 minutes of the basketball game at all. Patrick Williams can use this game in a way that I think maybe more than any other game to really realize when you have a physical mismatch, you better take advantage of it. And it occurred to him in spurts. But he missed shots. He missed shots while he was being a bull to the basket. Those are shots he's got to make.
Yeah, he looked uncomfortable in some of those moments. Like, can I really do this? And then
Right.
he gets to the basket, and it's not. I think I can. I knew I could. A little train, right? But except he's a giant, and there are times. I mean, I said it about the Miami game last Saturday. He emerges going up for a
massive.
board, and you see him from waist up, and you're thinking, this is a giant among little boys playing it. He's playing a different sport, and you saw it again last night in a couple of his drives where you're saying, that shouldn't go that fast. That shouldn't be that agile. That shouldn't be able to get by somebody who's that much smaller but that much quicker.
Now think if we play again, and now he's watched that
The
film.
knowledge that you've been through it, and yes, you've seen yourself
Things
go
slow
up
down.
against these top 20 players.
Things slow down. That's really where it happens, right? When you began to see the emergence of a Vassell at the end of last year, the game slowed down to him. Nothing seems so urgent. And the other thing I'll tell you, Tom, is if you just go advanced metrics, which we all like to do that, right? We held Duke, and they shot it from three really well. We held Duke to under a point per possession. Our defense wasn't the problem. It's that they had some tough shots. They hit some really tough shots. I feel okay. As the hours have gone by, I feel all right with the loss. I'm not even that angry. I really think on proper rest, more of those shots begin to fall. Duke probably has better shooters than we do. They typically have better shooters than most teams they face, but I mean, they made some tough shots. They made some threes. We didn't make any threes.
But if you look at our size and you know, if we get better a little bit at rotating, that was one weakness, I thought. They missed some open looks. And obviously, you know, when you have 6 top 40 players on your roster, you're going to generate some things and you're going to get to your spots. And I just thought, excuse me, I had something fall in my throat right there.
Thought you were getting choked up?
No, I wasn't getting choked up. As much as Coach K complaining to the refs brings back memories.
Lord. By the way, Vernon Carey got completely shut down last night. He was a rebounding machine, but he always is that. He didn't do anything on offense.
The only play that was big in his game for me where I go, whoa, well, that's what happens when you recruit that guy, is the broken play with Trey Jones.
Yeah.
He gets lost on an island and no man's land on the paint, and then he just decides to throw it up towards the basket. Then there's Carey to dunk it home.
Yeah, but Vernon Carey had 6 points. We played well. I mean, you stop him. Trey Jones is a good player.
Yeah, I guess the point would be Duke is obviously so good, and they recruit to such a high level that they're going to generate open looks. I don't know if they generated any more than we did. They certainly hit more than we did.
Yeah.
But the one thing to me is every time we hit the TV timeouts and we're watching a hanger, I thought, God, if I'm from Duke's perspective at halftime, you're going, how is this a 1-point game? Duke's perspective at the under 12 in the second half, how the hell is Florida State still hanging around? All I'm watching is missed shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is this still close? This doesn't make any sense. And that's the scary proposition that is Florida State. We need to develop a little bit more. We got a bit of a black hole situation in the low post, hopefully some light escapes at some point, and we have a sense of what we could do in the half court if Balsa's on the court or Dom is. But other than that, I mean, really, there's a ton to love about what we did on the road. We're no fluke. That's the whole point. We're no fluke whatsoever.
No, I'm stating it even stronger than that. I think I like us against Duke. I don't think that's a matchup they want to see again. I think they walked off that court and went, whew, glad that was at home. Glad they missed a bunch of shots. Because I think that, again, if we play to our ability, you can take Vernon Carey away again, by the way. We have the ability to do that. That's who we are. You can take him away again. They chose to take him away. They fronted him. So they took him away, and they said, okay, somebody else is going to have to beat us. Well, frankly, I don't think Duke, at less than a point per possession, did enough to beat us if we don't go as cold as ice from three. I mean, you can't shoot the ball that poorly, and you can't go however many minutes to start a basketball game on the road.
Yeah, it's 0 for 8 from the field before we hit our first basket.
Yeah, you can't. And by the way, you can't do that and expect to win. And I also don't think it's something you would do. I don't think you're going to duplicate that. We just really there are just lessons to be learned here. It's okay. Patrick's got lessons to learn here. I do think a couple things. Tough love Cameron making an appearance here. MJ Walker was useless last night. He played terribly. So you got to get something more out of him in a game like that because he's one of your triumvirate that you would expect to play well. He didn't play well. Trent was a superhero. He can't play any better than that. There aren't too many people in the country who can play better than that.
I thought he was going to puke on the court before Coach K used his second to last timeout in the second half. Remember that there was just this long sequence, and both teams were looking for a breather. Both they're coming up the court to play defense. They're looking at the bench like, "Hey, I'm going to die."
Yeah.
But Trent was all over the place, and that's why
Trent was a hero last night, a sports hero, a team hero. He was unreal.
And 24 minutes on Saturday was so important. That's why it was so important, because he could give that effort, and that's in him again. Like listen.
There.
We've seen him in the tournament fight through injury last year and turn in some of the most amazing trick shots, so reserved only for old dudes at the YMCA. And, the places he could get
the
on a hobbled leg.
Yeah.
But you wonder this year, where's the consistency? Where has it been? That is the performance that puts all that talk to rest. That is still in him, and that's going to be in him when push comes to shove.
I also think he'll get a little bit more help. I mean, one of the things that bothered me, obviously, doesn't seem like anybody was there to help him out last night. I mean, he kind of was a one-man show when you think about it. Part of the problem is that if you're I'm trying to think of the right way to say it, because he's so unselfish and he does so many things so well, and he did do some things well last night, so I can't say about him what I just said about MJ Walker. But Devin Vassell has got to be the man for stretches. And I thought he was passive. I thought he was very passive. Now, some of that was good Duke defense. It really was. Some of that was really good Duke defense. I thought they had kind of an answer for him. Their freshman did a few things.
Well, and if you look the first 4 or 5 minutes, obviously 0 for 8, some of that is us and some of that is them. But we weren't ready for that at that level, that speed, that commitment. We didn't expect them to pressure us well outside the three-point line the way they did.
Well, that's where playing Miami hurts you.
We couldn't get into our rhythm. It would be, 10, 12 seconds at minimum before we could get into our half court, and at that point, your options are limited. But we took a little bit of time to react to the speed.
I thought our defensive game plan was great. We took away most of what we wanted to take away. I think we just got to hit some shots. I would note that, again, MJ can't be that bad. Devin Vassell, 4 of 12 from the field, I think he was. That ain't getting it done for your star. He's got to play better than that. He also went 0 for 2 from the free throw line when he went there. I mean, kind of needs you to hit a couple free throws here, especially when you're in a game that's a one-possession game. I mean, these are things you got to do. You can't miss 8 free throws. But that stuff, that's what I fear is when I watch a game and I think, oh, we could play them 10 times and we can't win this game because the matchup is all wrong for us. But the opposite is what I thought when I walked away last night. And the more I thought about it today coming in here, I thought, when I look at that game and I delve into those numbers and I look at the box score and I think about what I saw, I think we match up great with them. We're a real problem for them. Our length really bothers them, hence all the turnovers. They hated us. I mean, they probably got out of there thinking, good God, every time I turn around, there's somebody's arm in the passing lane. And when they did what we let so many teams do, which is dribble penetrate, it's hard to score on us. So you think about how high off the glass they got to aim shots and all the weird things they have to do. I mean, we create turnovers.
Funny thing is, when we were climbing to prominence, you look at the schedule preseason, you say, ooh, thank God we only played Duke once, or we only played North Carolina once, or, insert the team at the time.
Now I desperately want to play him
I want to play him again, and not for anything, not for seeding, not just because I want to watch that basketball game again. I want to watch those two teams play. Of course, I want to win, and I want the points that come with that.
I'd love to come here and split it. We would win that game here.
I just want to see that game. This is a really compelling. I mean, listen, if there were stretches for both teams where they go ice cold. I mean, Duke didn't hit a field goal for close to 5 minutes in the second half?
Yeah, big stretch.
And that gave us a huge chance to climb back into the game, the run that we go on. But that was different than a dry spell when you're playing Virginia. It's different. It's not, you take the life out of the game. This is athleticism, getting up on defense, playing man-to-man.
And 2 tired teams.
Sure.
2 tired teams.
But I think, when you see that much effort out of both squads and you see the pressure on the ball instead of, we're going to sit back in the paint, come get us, even if it is a defensive war and you're missing shots, I prefer watching that type of basketball because everything's contested. Every pass is contested.
Oh no, I'm with you. I want to see the game again. I love the matchup. I think it favors Florida State. That's what I came away with. I thought, oh well, I kind of like this. I'll live with that. It would be nice if they call the foul on Matthew Hurt, not once but twice. But other than that, I don't have much to complain about officiating. I mean, you can't grab a player's arm in that situation overtly and they don't call it, and then elbow a dude in the face seconds later and they don't call that, but okay. Other than that, that's the only time where I felt like, okay, here it comes.
And that, that ends the game right then and there, as long as he makes one of the free throws. I have a hard time focusing on that because of the polite play and how egregious that was. I do think in the flow of the game, I thought, wow, they're not going to call that on us, or wow, I mean, we had 4 or 5 favorable calls, I'd say, in the first 25, 30 minutes of the game where I thought, okay.
They're going to let them
Well,
play.
what a pleasant surprise this is from the ACC officials. Now, they did have the grand opening, grand closing moment, but still, if you look at the polite play, that's ridiculous on their part, benefiting us.
And I'm willing to bet that Jordan Goldwire doesn't hit those threes the next time we play. Just a hunch. But he did last night. I'm like, okay, that's what's going on here tonight.
Goldwire. Okay.
Well, and it was funny. You could tell their fans were like, all right, light it up. It was like us when
Wyatt
when
first
Wyatt
did it.
started,
Yeah.
you know, like, okay, going to be that kind of night.
You know, I think a lot of people call for Wyatt to be on the court a little bit too often for my liking, but I thought when he was out there in the first half, that grouping of 5, they contested a lot of stuff much better, much more consistently than our starters did. I thought they got in front of the ball pretty consistently. I was hoping we'd see him a little bit more in the second half because nobody else was hitting shots. So you might as well put him out there.
Yeah, couldn't hit shots.
He wasn't a liability on defense. He was getting in front of guys.
So think about what we just did. We laid bare all of the things we didn't do, and you give Duke credit. They do defend. They do play hard, and they are talented. I'm not trying to dismiss Duke as a upper echelon ACC team and a top 20 team. I just don't think they're better than Florida State. I don't think after what I saw last night that Duke's appreciably better, if better at all, than Florida State. All the stuff we just laid out there, and Florida State lost by 5 on the road at Cameron. Okay. I mean, I'll take that. That's why I'm not mad today. I'm not mad. I'm like, okay, you're going to lose some games like that. It's going to happen.
Learn the lessons,
Well,
develop.
Hit some shots. Sometimes, in the NBA, they always call it a make or miss league. Sometimes in basketball, it's like, look, man, I mean.
I just like what that does for us when we see another team that wants to pressure the ball when we're trying to get in the half court. We've now seen it. We've seen it at a really high level. And so you learn from that. You got the experience. In the tournament, if we face some sort of upstart who's going crazy like that, no big deal. We saw it at Cameron Indoor. We know how to deal with this.
Down, yeah. Florida State is going to play LSU. It's all official on the gridiron, and where that gridiron is in both games is a point of contention for me. I'll talk about it next. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. I just now kind of went back and looked at the tweets from last night where after I tweeted, tough loss, we'll be fine, choo-choo, whatever. And then, people respond to that because we're all connected. We're all connected to the chugga-chugga, baby. We're trying to see this thing through. I got it. Well, most folks kind of noted, like, oh, yeah, wish we had done this. Wish this call had been made, whatever it was. But I did laugh at this one because it's the opposite for me, Mark. At Jay Cameron Show and at FSU Hoops, going to take a minute to cool down from this one. FSU could have run them out of the gym if they just shot a little bit better. The FSU defense is absolutely terrific. Well, that last part's true, and you're probably right about some of the other stuff there too. But Mark, I don't get mad in games like that. That's my point that I'm stressing. We're not going to go that cold from the field again. It's unlikely that we would. I mean, the statistical evidence that we have to this point in the season against all teams tell you that's not who we are, that was an anomaly, that the inability to make wide open. I mean, there were a bunch of those threes are wide open threes.
And we also got self-conscious and turned down quite a few in rhythm.
In particular, Raekwon Gray. So, you got to catch and shoot, man. That's what you're out there to do in that situation. And he just hesitated. It happened early in the game, and as soon as he did it, I went, all right. And then he did it again later. I will say this. Only one player right now is really kind of regressing, and that's Polite. He's not playing well at all. He's fairly useless at this point. Now, offensively. Defensively, he's always going to play hard.
He's a hound defensively.
Yeah, he's really, really rugged defensively. So when I say useless, that's a harsh term. I mean it offensively because he's doing things now that can hurt the team. And I'll live with it if you're going to be out there primarily for defensive reasons. And then on the offensive end, you help facilitate the offense or you kickstart the offense and you get a put back here or there. Or if you're left alone, you hit the occasional shot. But he's doing a lot of these things now because he's not hitting his shot. He's not even looking for it anymore. Now he dribble penetrates into double teams. I don't know what the hell he's doing. There's a whole lot of, what are you doing? You're just dribbling. He has terrible handles. So if you got bad handles and you're going to dribble penetrate, then you're going to put yourself in a bad situation.
If you're going to argue that yesterday's game was a slop fest and just, if you were a fan of another team and you're watching Big Monday, that's one thing that you would use is probably point one, which is a lot of dribbling into trouble for both teams. Because if you think about it from Duke's perspective, how many moments did they dribble into the paint? And we're going, what are you doing?
Well, I was laughing. I was loving it. I was like, okay, keep doing it. Go ahead.
Y'all are panicking. That's the wrong place to go when you're panicking. You don't want to go in the paint against us.
Yeah, they did it, and it was funny. And I kind of just smiled and rolled my eyes. Like, keep trying to do that. I mean, you get help side blocks. You've got so many things happen that should have reiterated to them each time. That's not where I want to go.
Ripping the basketball out of their hands. Yeah.
And that way, I appreciated the officials.
The most predictable moment of the night award goes to Raekwon on the breakaway dunk that never was, and it was an offensive foul. You remember what I screamed as he was dribbling up the court? Please finish it. Please finish it. Please finish it. Please, because there's no way. It just takes way too long to develop. And then he looked for somebody to shove, like it was 4th and 1, and the game was on the line.
Well, it was kind of funny because nobody there at Hanger saw it, and I saw the chicken wing, and I was like, I knew you were going to do that. I mean, there
was no reason. He was just going to blow by and run to the photographers and turn around.
But the worst part was he was sizing him up, meaning Gray was sizing him up. I'm like, no, he's not between you and the basket. What are you doing? Why are you looking back so that you can elbow him? What are you doing?
What is he doing?
Oh,
exhaustion will do that to you. You make weird choices when you're exhausted.
Yeah, we yelled two very different things. I may have said something about his weight in sandpits.
Sandpits is fair.
Yeah.
Sandpits is fair.
Well, and what's the cause of what's the reason he has to go to sandpits? I can point that out too.
Yeah. It's implied with sandpits,
Yeah. Well, I don't understand it though. He had a whole off season. I don't understand it. That's unacceptable. It just is.
What I said, if I was Leonard and I saw that's how he checked in and I get those numbers, I call him into my office.
Hey man.
And I put a CC's Pizza across from him. I say, here, this is clearly what you've been doing all off season.
Get after it.
Show me your skills.
So here it is. Florida State is going to do the thing, the Labor Day matchup thing. And on the one hand, you go, all right, cool. Love big-time, tradition-laden powerhouses going head-to-head, especially when we're one of them. It gives us an opportunity to see teams that we ordinarily don't get a chance to see, and it puts us on the field with the sports elite, right? The game's elite. When you play Alabama, whether you're playing them in Nova Scotia, Atlanta, Birmingham, Tallahassee, Tuscaloosa, wherever, you'd say, okay, great.
Nova Scotia would be cool.
Yeah, it would be. But you get to see those two uniforms. Florida State takes on Oklahoma State. It's in Jerry's World. We'll go to Jerry's World. Kind of cool to see Oklahoma State across from Florida State. Don't see that every day. That's all well and good. So on the one hand, as football enthusiasts, as fans, as diehards, we like unique matchups we're not accustomed to seeing that involve other fully invested, committed powerhouse programs going head-to-head. On the other hand, I don't know how many times I got to repeat it. We all, I think, are on the same page here. Hell, at one point, it sure seemed like the administration was as well. Maybe this was just tying up loose ends. They had to do it. It's the money. It's always the money, dummy, right? It always is. But we're not playing in Baton Rouge, which would be really cool. It'd be awesome.
It's right up the road.
It'd be really fun to do. Go spend a couple of days in Baton Rouge with the Cajuns and have a blast. And they'd welcome you in, and we'd all get a little loopy, and we'd eat some Cajun food, and we would hopefully see a great football game in which we take a victory home to Tallahassee. And then we would say, come on down, we'll do it up. Next year, we'll see you in Tally. A lot of fun. Show you around. Maybe you come to a baseball game or something, or you can go over to the stadium anyhow. You can go walk over there to Dick Hauser, and we'll do it all up. But no, nay, not going to happen. Instead, we go to sorry-ass Orlando.
Y'all can go to Orlando. We'll do a watch party here. It'll be more fun.
So Labor Day weekend, home neutral, as they're calling it these days, series. And in 2022, we'll go to the Superdome, which is a piece of crap, in New Orleans, which is not a piece of crap. Love New Orleans. I'll go to New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
That will be fun. I would rather go to Baton Rouge because of the whole college football pageantry thing, but I got it. Not going to get a chance to do it. So I'll go gamble in New Orleans. I'll go dance the night away with all the eclectic musical choices that we have.
I think we'll stop one night maybe, or at least a good long afternoon lunch in Biloxi to go make sure we put our markers down for the games.
Sure.
We could scoop them up on the way back.
Well, you can also do it at Harrah's. They're in New Orleans.
They don't have sports yet, though. I don't believe. You got
to double
stick
check
with Mississippi for the sports element.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well, we'll do two folds, two kinds of gambling. Anyhow, lots of eating, lots of drinking, lots of celebrating the rich history of the fine folks of New Orleans, which I adore. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. So we'll go have fun. But I have to admit, I'd rather be in Baton Rouge. And then we get to offer them Orlando. All right, enjoy Orlando, everybody. God, I wish we'd get past this. I would really, really like for us to just only schedule home and homes. I get the money angle.
Is this 21-22?
It's 22-23, isn't it?
Okay. So we get a little bit more time to prepare.
Yeah, in 2022, we go to New Orleans. And then in 2023, September the 3rd, Camping World Stadium.
Oh, yeah. Aptly named, right? Because I'm looking forward to going to the campgrounds. That's me.
If you think about what is going on from a coaching staff's perspective, though, Mike Norvell's got to be like, well, okay, all right. I got a tall task ahead of me here. I've got some things I got to get righted really quick, and it doesn't exactly come with a buffer. Because this year I got to take it to Boise. I got to play West Virginia. We've got Notre Dame in 2021. I've got LSU 2022-23 to go, along with, of course, Florida every year.
Little team called Clemson in the division.
Yeah, he's got to be thinking about getting this turned around pretty quick, Coach.
110-win season, and I'm the hell out of here.
Got to turn it around really quickly. We got to be at least competent because, of course, we played that game Well, thankfully, Joe Burrow will not be starting at quarterback for the LSU Tigers in 2022, and I don't care whoever it is that's starting. They're not going to be as good as Joe Burrow. So, all right, we got that going for us.
Norvell's like 10 wins, and I'm going to coach the Titans. That's my goal.
Well, let's get us to a national championship. Then you can go coach the Titans if that's what you want to do. Let's go ahead and win a title.
Those
here
are our
first.
provisions.
Yeah. Let's go win a title first before we. I mean, this is not winning. Hey, I won 10 games at Samford. I'm going to go take it to another job. I mean, it's Florida State. You get titles. That's the legacy.
NFL head coach. That's a title.
You want to be held on high. You gotta win titles around here. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When that moon gets so big and bright.
Speaking of which, did you see the moon 2 nights ago? Holy moly.
Yeah.
Doing some things.
Snooping on all of us.
It was cool. You know, Bryce can't accept, he's gone full bore into his commitment to Florida State basketball. He really likes Florida State basketball. And he watches the games now, which I appreciate. So if I have like a watch party like we had last night at Hangar 38, you know, if it's a school night and he needs to be doing homework and stuff like that, he can't go. And so, you know, I'll tell him, listen, finish up here, watch the game. I'll tell Mom you're allowed to stay up for the whole thing. You know, we'll talk about it later. Okay. But I've discovered something because he's watched us lose to Virginia, and then he watched us now lose to Duke, and both times I was at a watch party. And so he was, you know, he's frustrated. He wants somebody to air the grievances. And when I talked to him this morning about the game last night, he just refuses to accept losses. He's like, well, this is ridiculous. We just can't be losing these games. I said, son, they're a higher-ranked team at home. They got really good players. They're all blue-chip players. They're players that were as highly touted as they come. And a couple NBA guys on that roster, it happens. Yeah, but, you know, it's just like the Virginia game. We're just not making plays down the stretch, Dad. They're going to have to start executing better. It's like, okay.
He's throwing his hat in the ring, man.
He's getting frustrated. He thinks we should win every single game. And it occurred to me that he feels that way because since he's been, you know, cognizant of Florida State basketball, since it's entered into his mind as a thing to care about, root for, and be passionate about, he's seen them win, mostly win, constantly win.
I don't think he was there for any of the 3 losses in the last 64, correct? At home? He wasn't at the Louisville game.
Was he at the Duke game? He might have been at the Duke game.
I don't think so.
I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't.
But, yeah, he's only seen us win, and he's seen us win dramatic games.
Yeah.
Hell, he was at a game where the dude looked like he was having a heart attack on the side of the floor at the end of the game. Turns out he was fine. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
Guy
yeah,
collapsed.
Post-game.
We thought he was dead.
Yes, that's right. Wow, that was last year.
Yes. Yeah, you blocked it out, apparently. Yeah.
I did.
That guy died on the floor, or so we thought. Everybody was running around like, oh, man, this guy's dead right here in front of my kids. Turns out he just passed out for some reason.
Okay.
He was okay, which is great.
Classic Austin Powers. He's okay.
So, yeah, it was kind of crazy. But he has seen a lot of drama is the point, and usually dramatic victory is what he sees. And then he's seen really very few losses at all. And so for that, I think he's gotten truly spoiled. He doesn't remember what we all remember, which is a backload of a loss after loss after loss, and a stockpile, if you will, of poor seasons.
Well, he's close to being right, though, about we shouldn't lose games. I mean, he's close. This team is interesting. Think about, like we said in the beginning of the hour, it's been the talking point all day. How much had to go wrong for us to lose that game last
by 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we're every bit as good as Duke. I'm saying that. But I also don't think Duke is this year's version of Duke. I don't think they're the team to beat. I don't think they're the elite team that's going to make a run into the Final Four. I don't think Duke's going there.
He's holding us to a standard, though. I like that about the young man. That's good.
Well, and it's a similar standard to what Leonard Hamilton is starting to hold them to, which is, take care of your business. You're as good as anybody. Let's go. Expect to win these games. And if you don't, learn from it and move on and then start winning the next one. That's kind of how they are. I like the grin on Leonard's face when it was all over about the no calls at the end. He's just kind of like, okay, all right. There was no, I'm sure deep down he was a little frustrated.
We'll see you in the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
I'm going to smack you.
We'll see you in the ACC tournament if we're lucky. I'd love to see you. I hope you're still around, Duke. We'll be there. That's kind of the attitude, I think, sort of. I did take us last night, plus the 8, 7.5, depending on when you got it. Either way, you covered. Speaking of covering, it's a little Big Daddy J moment tonight. I'm going on your advice here. Big Daddy takes advice from anybody now if it's about pouring Red Russians and we got a chance to partake. Cue it up, sir.
Hey, Big Daddy. Having some Red Russians tonight?
We'll know in about 47 seconds.
Into an open wing. It's picked up by Dowdy, an empty net. He scores.
Hot damn, Big Daddy's done it again. Red Russians all around, Teddy.
All right, Big Daddy.
I have not been nearly as locked in this year, and thus we have not posited that many Red Russian attempts. I think we're 500 on the season. We usually follow up a great victory, a joyous victory, with a resounding defeat.
For non-Lightning, but before the All-Star break, we were riding Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, we were. Well, we're going to bring up the Lightning again tonight, I think you said, right? At Bolts on the road against Pittsburgh. Getting a goal and a half, if you want the money line, it's plus 109. Might we pull the upset win on the second of a back-to-back?
I'd take the goal and a half. Second of a back-to-back, and you're a little banged up in the defensive position, and obviously you're missing potentially your best all-around forward in Steven Stamkos. So, yeah.
All right, I'm going to place the bet while we're talking.
I also like the under tonight. You said the total is 6?
The total is 6.
Feel pretty good about that. There's an extra attention being paid to Tampa's defense because so many guys are hurt. So they're not trying to win 5-3 right now because that'll turn into a 6-5 loss.
Right. All right, so we like it. Big Daddy saying take the Bolts plus a goal and a half. That's your wager tonight on the road against Pittsburgh. I'll be locked in. It's a little 7:08 droppage of the puck.
All righty. Bring it on.
7:08. Not long from right now. You get home, you settle in, there you go.
Bring it on, Linnefeld's Pens. We got you.
I feel good about the postseason this year. I said it. They're playing a different brand and a better brand and a more conducive brand to winning in the postseason hockey.
They are. They're just they're dropping like flies a little bit right now. Need to make sure these injuries aren't long term. And if you get those guys back, you get the depth you need. I agree. They went through the birthing pains of how to play the right way, and they're playing a much heavier style.
It almost cost Coop his job.
It was very close to costing him his job because the questions were legitimate. Do these guys care to play for him
anymore? Are they
going
to tune him out? Yeah, what's going on?
And he benched one of our star players, and it looked like the team responded to it. Go figure. A little tough love went a long way for the players.
Tough
coach.
Love always goes a long way. I have to revisit it with you, MJ Walker, and I don't want to, but you're going to make me do it. That game last night, Tough Love was talking to me.
Comes 22 against Syracuse on Saturday.
Got to show up. Got to show up on Saturday. Syracuse plays well on the road. They're not intimidated by road games. Got to show up.
So they have their midweek game. If they win it, that makes Saturday's game a little bit more interesting. It wouldn't tie us in the standings.
No.
But if Syracuse were to score the upset here, where nobody seemingly these days beats Florida State, they would bring themselves to within one game of Florida State in the standings.
What you talking about, Tom?
All I'm
saying. Leave this alone now. Where are you going? Where is this? Where's your
Syracuse has
now?
to win their game, between now and then.
And also,
but if they did, Saturday becomes a little bit more interesting.
I think we're going to play pretty angry. I think we're going to play with a little bit of what for to us.
We're going to make some shots. Is what we're going to do.
Next few games, you're going to see get you some little what for out of this team right
Gearing up for that Louisville game.
Woo! I am getting geared up. For
ready.
That's going to be a fun game. Good work out of you. Great work, Matthew, as always. To all of those who listened into the program or watched on YouTube. I thank you as well. ESPN programming next, I do believe. And then, that's right. That's correct.
A little bit of the ESPN.
When the hell is the Front Row Knowles on?
Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow?
I'll let the cat out of the bag, though.
Yeah.
They're recording tonight. I'm sticking around in the studio. Tom had some surgery, minor surgery.
Oh, Tom.
So they're doing a little bit of a...
He's all right. It's minor surgery.
Yes. Yeah, he's going to be fine.
All right.
It's just a little bit of...
My man's going to be all right.
The schedule game.
Okay.
And so he's available to come in this evening, so that's what I'm recording with.
All right, good. All right, I look forward to it. All right, be well, everybody. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.